JT Robertson.
Yeah. How's it going?
Man, how you doing?
I'm fucking great, dude.
You look like you're doing great over there, man.
Yeah, man. Just sometimes life just works out.
Sometimes you got to make it work out.
Well, yeah.
You're making it work out.
Yeah, definitely a thing in my life lately. Just I guess I think everybody goes through shit in life. I mean, but like, you know, just like I've been really on this like kind of spiritual journey for myself. I sound like a hippie, even though I'm not. I have dreadlocks and do smoke some herb, but that's about the end of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like on a pretty good spiritual journey for the past like 5 years, where I've just kind of started focusing on my own personal growth and focused on building myself up. And in doing so, I find that I empower more people to do the same.
It's kind of crazy how that becomes almost contagious.
Yeah, it's. I guess it's like when your cup is overflowing, other people can drink. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not a spiritual guy when it comes to stuff like that, but it's like a real thing. But yeah, dude, life's fucking great, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah.
That's awesome.
Ups and downs, just like everybody else. Just the best thing in the world is when you have a fucking good attitude when there's bad shit happening.
So true.
Yeah.
It is so true. People look to that. People like gravitate.
Yes.
I've found toward that. You become the natural leader when you're the positive guy, when you're the guy who looks like your foundation is secure.
Yeah. Speaking of foundation, we need to do more leg day because I got some chicken legs. Well, they're turkey legs now. I've been working on them.
Yeah.
Cole.
Yes.
How are you doing over there?
Wonderful.
I love your shirt, man.
It's Montana till I die. That's what I tell people. They're like, well, how come you're going here and how come you're going there? You know, I went to South Africa. I was there for 2 weeks. And I love traveling. I love experiencing different cultures, different foods, different alcohol, different landscapes. I mean, everything. But, dude, there's no place like Montana. There is no place in the world like Montana.
Agreed.
I mean, I've been lucky to live here my entire life outside of the military when I couldn't wait to leave. That's 90% of the reason I joined the military. And then, man, 4 years in, I was like, man, I got to go home. I miss the mountains. I even missed the damn wind. And we all know how frickin' windy it is here.
You must have been fucking drunk.
I was probably drunk. But I miss Montana, and I'll never, ever ultimately leave Montana. I might go on a ship and hang out on a boat for a while with my friends, but I'm always going to have Montana's always going to be my home. So
yeah, I'm a transplant, and this place feels like this is where I belong, and I feel at home when I come back and I hit the border, and you've been driving all day and you hit the border. Like,
yes,
yeah.
I'm a transplant too.
Where are you from?
Salt Lake.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I'm from Logandale, Nevada, and Las Vegas, Nevada, just outside of Mesquite, Nevada, and originally. But yeah, interesting. So what brought you up here from Salt Lake? How'd you find this spot?
Divine intervention.
Nice.
Before we jump into divine intervention, just so we're all aware, I'm a pagan, so I believe in like
some
Thor.
Loose definitions of things.
So divine intervention, we would call it, you know, the web of weird, WYRD. I think I'm actually going to change that when I say weird to everybody else. Start saying that. Anyway, so way long ago, about 30 years ago, I was 12 years old, and I saw a river runs through it. And I am an avid fly fisherman. Well, I mean, I'm an avid tree fisherman, but I like to try to catch fish. And I saw Brad Pitt catching giant brown trouts. I mean, just fucking killing them. And I was like, this idiot can catch fish. I, for sure, will be able to catch fish in Montana. ... And then I promised myself that I would own a ranch by the time I was 40 in Montana when I was 12. Rewind 5 years ago? Yeah, 5 years ago. Me and my ex-fiance and took my daughters up to Kalispell and Glacier for Father's Day weekend. While we were up there, we went over to Troy and Libby and found 20 acres for sale. A beautiful area until you find out that if you move there, you basically die from cancer. It's fine. Asbestos poisoning, super
really?
Fun site. Yeah. Negative population growth. Like they're
oh wow,
more people are dying than are born.
And this is outside of Libby?
This is in
Libby?
Libby. Yeah, Libby and Troy.
Huh.
Yeah, huge issue. EPA said it was clear. Whatever. We found out because we were looking at the snow. Like the gal was like, "Oh, it barely snows over here," and we're like, "I don't think that's real, dude. Like, I think that we're like really far north."
Yeah, it
West,
should be.
and it's gonna snow a lot, you know. Like I'm from Utah, so I'm like used to snow and cold. I was just like, you know, like we'll figure it out. But went up there, found that out, was really bummed. We got back to Salt Lake, and I just had the like, okay, I make enough money now as a cybersecurity project manager. I can move the fuck away, and I can work remote. Like I have nothing holding me back here in Utah, just my mom and dad, and like we have a great relationship, but I'm also so used to the military life of not being, I don't know, in a place for a long time.
Yeah.
So I said I'm gonna go find something else. So I was just looking on our classified ads. It's called KSL ads or KSL classifieds down there, and I found a place for sale up in Wolf Point. Completely opposite end of the state. Like you can't get further apart.
Right.
Like,
Right.
So then I drove up to Wolf Point over Labor Day weekend 5 years ago. And when we were up there, I witnessed a meth deal go down in the gas station grocery store thing. And then the meth dealer stabbed the dude who dealt meth to him so he could get his meth back to resell it to somebody else. And I was like, this is a Salt Lake problem. I don't need more Salt Lake problems. This is a fucking thing in the city.
You saw that go down. You saw him stab the guy.
And I got directly in my truck and drove the fuck off because I didn't want to have
Yeah.
any part to
who
do
needs
with. I am anti-sworn statement guy.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to know nothing.
Right.
Didn't see shit. And
No.
like one less meth head. It's not a big deal in my heart. Sorry.
But who wants to deal with that? Yeah.
No. So, and we found 100 acres for $160,000. But it was on the res, like it bordered the res. And I'm like, I travel for work. I travel a lot for hunting. I travel a lot for fishing, adventures, all sorts of shit. And I'm just not willing to leave at the time my fiance up there alone by herself. This is not a thing that I'm comfortable with because of the pigment of my skin. Just not a thing. It's not a safe place for people like us. So, and nothing against that, but it just is what it is. I'm sorry. It doesn't want to.
It could be rough in some of these areas.
Yeah, definitely rough. And like you're the outsider, and you know that whole thing really translates.
Yeah.
So coming back, I don't know if you guys remember when the Bridgers were really smoking on fire, when it was really just rolling outside of Bozeman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's when we came up. Mm-hmm. So we couldn't get back through because they'd closed I-90, and so we stopped in Billings. And so Mono's like, let's just see what else is for sale. We're stuck for an extra day, so we stayed. Drove over to the area where I live, off exit 396 or whatever, and went and looked at this house. It's just like a 5,200 square foot house on 60 acres, and I was like, I could totally afford this, but I just don't want to be house poor. I just don't really. That's not really in my wheelhouse. So we said thank you and everything else. We were walking off the property. And a retired Army chaplain comes driving down the road, sees my Marine Corps plates in my truck, and says, "Hey, man, are you guys lost?" "No." "What are you guys doing all the way up here? Nobody ever comes up here. There's only 4 houses up here." I'm like, "Well, this guy's house is for sale. We're just looking at it. We're trying to move, think about moving to Montana, trying to figure out a location that we can land." And he's like, "Whoa, weird. Well, the Christian school that I'm the principal for is moving me to Kalispell," which is ironic because I just was there.
Yeah.
And we need to sell our house. I don't want to deal with it's got to be a quick thing. I don't want to deal with like realtors. And you seem like a solid man. You got a good firm handshake. You're a Marine. I'll sell you my house for half of what he's selling his house for. And I was like, what? How big is your house? Like before we go,
yeah.
It's like 3,600 square feet. And I was like, no way.
Wow.
No way. So we shook hands on it. And I said, I just want to come up in the wintertime and see how it is. I just want to know how it is. Like, it's just,
right.
Like, it's Montana. So Utah and Montana are very similar in like almost every aspect of temperature, except for 2 weeks in the wintertime. Like, even the wind is fucking similar.
I found it's really similar to Cedar City.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So came up in January, signed the paper. He paid closing costs. He paid for all the appliances to be replaced, and he also paid for the fucking carpet to be replaced, and locked in at like a 2.25% interest rate on a 30-year fix because it was like perfect timing.
Oof.
So I don't know if you can divine intervention any more than that.
Sounds pretty divine.
Yeah, so I ended up just like landing this once-in-a-lifetime dream home.
Right before prices in the world gets crazy.
Yeah, and we also have fucking fiber internet.
Wow.
Yeah, weird.
That is weird. That is fortunate.
Yeah, it is.
I say, I was just like, I feel like Matthew McConaughey, man. You just gotta keep L-I-V-I.
All right.
Yeah. So that's how we ended up here.
That's a great backstory on that.
Man. So I ended up buying the house when I was 39, 6 months before my 40th birthday. So I kept true to myself, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So what was it when you're finally like a resident here, and then what was the experience like when you finally went and stood in the water? You start throwing that fly fishing line.
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, that was just awesome. In like October, as a resident, the first year, I guess that's almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was October, and where I live, there's a herd of bull elk that live on the property. Like, there's 22 bull elk.
Wow.
And they're gorgeous animals, and I just want to eat them. But I went down to the river access, and I walked out, and I was like, I'm fly fishing like 10 minutes from my house on the Yellowstone River. Like, that is a moment of just craziness.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't caught a big brown. I've caught lots of little browns, and I've caught a whole shitload of shrubs and trees and a couple whitefish and one rainbow trout. So...
Yeah. But you're there. You're there. You're doing it. And I tell people around here all the time, I'm like, you grow up here. You don't understand what this place is. Like, you don't have a concept of what it is to outsiders. And I love the way I explain it is this place is mystical to people from outside of this place.
For sure.
And when you grow up here, I don't know, you don't see it that way. You take it for granted. And Cole has a great appreciation for it, but a lot of people that I know of that are just take this place for granted. I'm like, nah, you don't.
Well, I think that goes for everybody. If you really want to break it down, like, a lot of people would kill to grow up where you grew up, or I don't know if anybody would kill to grow up in Utah, but I mean, Utah's a magical place. It's so beautiful. Like, there's so many different landscapes that you get to experience within like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think a lot of people get lost because, well, there's two things that will happen. Either they stay here and they never leave. They just stay and they never expand their view. They don't broaden their gaze.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're like, peace, bitch, I'm out. And they bounce. And then they're like, nope, I'm going back. The people that end up saying that take it for granted are the people who never leave.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have to live in like Japan, or you don't have to live in a big city, you don't know how shitty that is. Like, I lived in London in 2019 for 6 months for work. And if I ever hear another freaking church bell, it'll be too soon, man.
Really? I never heard anybody talk about that.
Dude, I lived across the street from St. Paul's Cathedral.
Just like, all the time, huh?
Dude, 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. Quasimodo, by the way, he was in France. But his ass migrated. And he was just like, it was just ringing. I was like, oh, dude, seriously. Like, I just want to sleep in. Like, I just want to sleep in on this day.
Does it not get like the trains? Like, do you not, after a while, get accustomed to it enough to where you can kind of tune it out? Or
no, man, that shit's so loud, it vibrates the house.
Oh, man.
My flat was smaller than your studio. Well, about your same size as your studio. It was like 10,000 pounds a month, though.
Wow.
I had a washing machine that also doubled as a dishwasher. It was weird.
I wonder what that place goes for now.
Probably like 14 or 15,000 pounds, which is like
I've heard it's just gotten insanely expensive.
Yeah, I lived on the right on the Suffolk Bridge, which is one street down from Tower Bridge, and then one street down from Millennial Bridge, which was in Harry Potter, the one that they twist up. And
Okay.
yeah. So I walked across those bridges every fucking day for 6 months for work. Because, yeah, you walk everywhere. You take a black cab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What work were you doing over there? Was that when you were...
Still cybersecurity.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you get into cybersecurity? What was your background? Or like, how do you... Like, that's interesting. I've never talked to anybody who's just like, I do cybersecurity. I'm like, oh, really? So how do you get into that?
So I'm just going to use the same phrase again. Divine intervention? I mean, I don't know. So
That's good, though. Now I want to hear this story.
Dude, the background on me is really interesting. So I did 8 years in the Corps, and then I missed it. I got out. I got busted down when I was on recruiting duty. Some stuff with my ex-wife and her cheating on me, and then me getting caught cheating on her when we weren't officially divorced. Whatever, dumb shit, stupid shit that 23-year-olds do. Got out, missed it. Joined the National Guard, the Army National Guard in Utah. Deployed to Afghanistan. Did route clearance there. Then came home, and I started working as a recruiter for a company called Ampion Staffing down in Utah. I started a physical therapy, occupational therapy, like rehabilitation therapy recruitment wing. I was the head of the team. Opened up my own automotive shop while I was doing that. Made more money doing that than recruiting. Then when got a brick and mortar shop, kind of really fucked myself. Decided I hate cars too. Along the way,
but you had to find that out.
Yeah, fucking sucked.
Gotta go find these things out.
I was an ASC certified master tech. I actually, when the planes hit the towers, I was working at Firestone as a tire buster apprentice. The next day, I went down and enlisted in the military and in the Marine Corps. Anyway, so then I kind of got to this point where I was in this place where I had to make some choices in my life with my automotive shop and paying bills and all this other shit, and I had to close down the automotive shop. And then I went back to work for Ampion, but they didn't have a spot for me anymore. They closed down that whole division. Sorry, it's driving me nuts. Out of my peripherals. Anyway, so I ended up working on the technology side of things, and when I was working on the technology side of things, we have to go to like all these stupid events. It's like the Hadoop users group. So Hadoop is a back-end technology that utilizes object-oriented design versus like a SQL, which is kind of like your rows and columns. So in object-oriented design in technology, you can say this is a cup, this is a chalice, this is a glass, this is whatever, and it will be able to pull data from anywhere and correlate it to that thing.
Okay.
Versus, columns and rows, which is like more of a back-end database setup that everybody's used to. So I kept going to all these stupid events, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on because I was like not really into technology. I didn't really like it. I just like whatever. I used my phone to try to talk to my kids and to try to pick up chicks. That's like the end of the phone era for me. Like it was it, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up with he's now the owner of the Utah Jazz. I ended up doing an interview with him, just talking to him about some stuff that he wanted or he needed for his team. And I was sitting there, and he's like, "Hey man, you ever thought about being a project manager?" And I was like, "No, because I have no idea what the fuck that is." And he's like, "Well, at least you're honest." And I'm like, why do you ask? I'm just asking because, you own a $500 million a year company. Like what?
Right.
Obviously there's a question here I'd like to know the answer to.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I mean, you manage projects, basically. You manage scope, which is what are you doing? You manage the schedule. How long is it going to take? And you manage the budget. Are we spending too much, or are we on point? Or are we spending too little? And I said, what about people? He's like, you don't manage people at all. I'm like, fucking, I'm in.
Yeah, right.
I'm so in right now. So he was like, here, he's like, why don't you come down? I'll let you talk to the director of my PMO. I'll give you a recommendation. So I go down and talk to the director of the project management offices of PMO. And the director's like, well, I know that he's the owner of the company, but I run my team, so I don't care. But you have some potential. I'd recommend you try to get into it. In the future, maybe we'll look at you. And I was like, cool story. You were a dick.
Yeah.
Like, awesome. I mean, good feedback, I guess. But next thing you know, I end up working for MRM McCann, which is an advertising agency that they modeled the series Mad Men after.
Okay.
At my desk at work, I had 3 types of bourbon sitting on my desk. And every Friday, we'd have Frosé Friday, which is where I got the idea for the mead slushies.
Right.
They'd have that. They'd have margaritas. Like I'd be in the middle of a meeting and somebody would just crack a fucking beer and start drinking while we're talking. I was just like, okay,
yeah,
that's a weird place to be. Pretty cool. Ended up getting laid off 3 days before.
Seems like it's like going right back to like 1960s,
dude,
or something.
Man, I would
like
tell you,
60s or 70s, like when that was still prevalent in offices.
Right.
I don't know what everybody got uptight in the 80s.
Yeah,
it was like late 80s. All that kind of ended.
The hard part was it was super liberal, and everybody was wearing like all these ridiculously hot women were wearing these pencil skirts, like these Anyway, so I would be sitting there, sober as a jaybird, because I couldn't drink because I'd look if they walked by, and I had to be like super professional. They'd be walking by, like blouses that were way too tight for the personalities that they held back.
Yeah,
if you will.
Right.
And I was just like, God, man, I can't even look anywhere. Anyway, I ended up getting laid off with they had to lay off half the company 3 days before Christmas.
Oof.
It's whatever. It's technology. That happens all the time in IT. So, I get laid off, and I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to watch Game of Thrones for the next 3 weeks. Because nobody's ever going to there's like a 2-week period where
nobody's doing anything.
No, nobody does anything during the holiday. Like, they're all on vacation. I was just like, whatever. And I'm like, I'll just the last week when I get to the final seasons of Game of Thrones, I'm just going to throw my resume out there.
Yeah.
So I get a phone call from my now boss, and he's like, hey, from the recruiter from the company I work for, and she's like, hey, the director of our PMO wants to meet with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds great. Sets me up an appointment. Doesn't give me any contact information to dial into a bridge or anything like that. So I'm just like, oh, this is cool. I guess he's calling me. Sweet. Rad. Then I send an email. I'm like, hey, so 15 minutes late. I'm not really impressed with the director of the PMO because we run time. We run meetings. We manage the meetings. This is kind of a weird situation for me to be like, hey, man, get your shit together. Right. Or send an email or phone call. Come on. Anyway, so the recruiter's like, oh, that's my bad. I didn't put the bridge in or the phone number. And I was like, cool. So now I look like an ass. So I get on the.
So he's hot thinking.
Well, so no, my boss is a freaking stud. I love the shit out of him. He handwrites Christmas letters with a quill pen and calligraphy.
Oh,
every year. And I was like, that's crazy cool.
Yeah, that's next level.
Yeah, super kind. He's put up with my bullshit for 8 years. But anyway, so. He's like, do you know anything about cybersecurity? I was like, only thing I know about cyber or anything is that all the firewalls I keep, or not firewalls, but the antivirus shit that I keep buying, that doesn't work. So, and he's like, well, it's a lot deeper than that. And I was like, cool. I can be taught. I mean, project management is project management. It's the same thing. You manage the same 3 things. And then if you don't know what's going on, you take the notes and then you either talk to the engineer that actually knows what the fuck's going on, or you Google it. Or watch a YouTube video. It's very straightforward.
Yeah,
what it is. And so I just I told him I actually had 3 job offers that were waiting for me, and I told him, I'm like, hey man, I just want to let you know,
I'm gonna go see what happens here.
I was like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've got 3 job offers pending, and I'm making my decision by Friday this week. I just want to kind of go from there. And he's like, well, I'll see what I can do about getting back to you by Friday. And I was like, cool. Whatever, just being honest with you. I'm not trying to pit you against anybody. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And hang up the phone. He calls me back on my cell phone like 10 minutes later. Hey, man, I cleared my schedule. You said you're just watching Game of Thrones for the rest of the week. Like, do you want to go to lunch? And I was like, shit, yeah. And so I told him, I was like, hey, man.
And you told him you were just watching Game of Thrones for the week.
Yeah. He's like,
oh, well, so the guy's honest. Yeah.
I might get out of my underwear today.
Right.
I might put pants on. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I was like, all right, cool. What do you look like? He's like, well, I kind of look like Colonel Sanders. Cool. I look like a Viking. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I've got sleeve tattoos, a big beard, and dreadlocks. I'm pretty much like a Viking. He's like, okay. I'm like, so that's what I look like, man. If you want to decline now, just decline, because I don't care. I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm not getting rid of any of those things.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's cool. I can't wait to hear the story about your tattoos. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So anyway, go to lunch. We don't talk about work at all. Looks at me and says, it's been great getting to know you. I'm like, here's a rejection. He's like, I'll have a job offer to you in 30 minutes.
Wow.
And that is how I got into cybersecurity.
And then he just, boom, here it is. This is what you do. You just start you into training, or do you sort of?
No, he's like, hey, I hope
on
that
the
you
job
can,
training.
I hope that you can fucking swim.
Yeah.
Push in the deep end.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really the way to do it, though.
I mean, yeah.
Get in there, start doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really divine intervention again. Like there's no rhyme or reason why I ended up where I'm at.
Wow. No, there is.
I mean, maybe I'm in a coma. I got blown up in Afghanistan and I'm just in a coma and you guys are part of my dream.
No, not at all.
If I was my subconscious, I would tell you.
That train you heard is
Same fucking
very
thing.
real. Yeah. No.
I'd probably be better looking in the dream though too. You know.
I'd still smash.
Yes.
No, that's awesome though. Well, you seem you're just a straightforward guy, and I think that's if I'm looking for employees, if I just have somebody who's a straight shooter who is self-aware,
Yeah.
and I mean that's huge. Self-awareness is just huge.
I think I learned a long time ago that like when you start hiding, when you hide yourself, like hide your truth,
Yeah.
it'll come out.
It will come out.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
Like it comes out. It don't. It's just
No.
you're either gonna make it 3 months or you're gonna make it the entire time because you're honest. Like if you want to, like this, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that honesty that's refreshing. I guarantee it. That's what. So, I mean, I like the divine intervention angle, but I think it's more it's refreshing to have somebody who's open and honest and confident. Throw a few of those things together, and yeah.
You mean be a functioning member of society?
Stop.
You know what's funny
Get outta
is
here
that,
with that
but
shit.
but isn't it interesting though, like that's now like something that you're having to look for in people. Like
Yeah.
that's not common anymore, in my opinion. It's not the average anymore.
Well, common sense is not a common virtue, so therefore, having somebody who is honest is also probably not a common virtue anymore either.
It's not.
It's not. No.
Well,
I
you
mean,
deal with the shit of the world. I stopped dealing with that. I was a world police for 14 years. I'm fucking out on that
Yeah.
shit.
I do. You're right. But there's still those moments where even dealing with that I might be able to change the course of that person's life just from one interaction. And I mean that for me that's enough to keep doing it. I mean, I'm on year 17. And now I'm in the schools, and so I actually have even more of an opportunity.
That's where I think
You
the
know.
best impact is like
Yeah.
I grew up in a firehouse. My dad used to do like the stop, drop, and roll training and shit all the time, and he'd drag my ass to the schools when I was off. So we had like the on track, off track, year-round school schedule.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, and he would drag my ass to school when I was supposed to be out of school to go listen to him talk about fire safety, which I learned when I was like 4. I'm like, oh my god, fuck this.
Yeah. And I think where we're at too in Montana, in this area of Montana, we're still pretty lucky that what I've seen in the education system, I mean, I even went to college to eventually be a teacher, and I'm still a cop. But I've noticed that at least here in Montana, in the schools that I've gone to, with people from all over. I just went to a week-long school with a bunch of cops from Salt Lake that are in the school resource officers. But we're still pretty lucky out here that we have teachers that are dedicated, that aren't buying into reprogramming our youth to essentially be robots. We're actually here to not teach opinions, but teach you how to form your own opinion, how to gather the information and get your own. And so I really feel blessed at this point in my career that I get to be a part of that now.
That's super awesome.
So
maybe that's why I like you and your eyes.
I've always liked your beard.
That's fair.
Kind of what it would be like to tickle my neck a little bit.
It's what we'll be here later.
Right.
Man, I was about to cue the music over here and dim the lights.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I've been deployed, man.
Oh, man, yeah. Found love at a foxhole.
But we talked about that last week, when we were talking about where, and we were talking about history stuff, because we're both huge history nerds, especially in this area. And there seems to be a lack of delivery to make history interesting to this generation of people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My theory on it, and I hate to repeat myself every episode on everything, but my theory on that is that history teachers need to spend less time or not look at themselves as just like, okay, I'm putting out this old information or whatever that we check off these boxes. Your role is almost like you're like the elder of a tribe giving an oral history around the campfire, and these things are being handed down, and everybody likes to be around that campfire and hear that story. There's something fascinating to everything that goes on, even the boring information. And then they pass this bill. Well, there's some drama behind that bill, and there's some information. You know what I mean? Like there's something to everything.
I think it's really. I'm a huge history buff too. Like I've watched every real docuseries you can see. When I was over in England, dude, I went to every damn place I could that was, and they're like, it's so annoying because they just walk past these like monuments of like it's like the Salisbury Cathedral down in Salisbury, which is where in Bath, which is right where Stonehenge is. Okay. So you go down there and it's the oldest functioning clock. It doesn't tell time as far as like you don't have a hand, but it chimes every hour, still has ropes and pulleys. Built in 1213.
Holy mackerel.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm like, what?
People just walk by, they don't even know what it is.
They're just like, oh yeah, it's another, they call it another bloody castle or church or ABCs, the ABCs. And I'm like, do you, like, there's a reason why you guys are dumb.
Yeah.
It's like when I was on the train, right? So taking the train up to Scotland, headed to Scotland, heading to Edinburgh, and then head up to Stirling Castle to kind of go like see William Wallace's stomping grounds and Robert the Bruce, and really kind of understand where my heritage really comes from. That and Denmark are kind of like my main areas for my heritage. But like I'm headed up there, and this 19-year-old who's in uni, which is college, right? University. It's like, yo, you're an American. How many school shootings have you been part of? And I was I just looked at her. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, well, how many guns do you have? I'm like, well, not enough. And she's like, why would you say that? You don't need guns. I was like, do you know what happened in 1941? Do you remember that? Did they teach that here, or did you miss that? And she's like, oh, you're talking about World War II? And I'm like, yeah. Do you remember how like guns stopped you from speaking German today? And she said, well, that's an extreme situation. I'm like, that is the only reason to have guns. It's not for hunting.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is absolutely what we talk about. Do you know why you guys don't have guns? And she's like, why? I'm like, because you are being controlled. You are controlled. You cannot do it. Like your CCTV and all the other weird shit, they control every aspect of your life. They tell you what you can watch. You guys are stuck in V for Vendetta land, but you don't even know. You're like 1984, but like just 2 years prior, 1982.
Yeah.
It's just like right there on the cusp. And I'm like, I look at him and she's like, I can't talk to you Americans. And I was like, well, then don't.
Yeah.
Don't fucking talk to me, because what you're going to hear is me being compassionate to the fact that the people that fought and died for you to speak your shit version of English used guns.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the safest area ever in the world is an armed populace because nobody wants to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not a thing.
Right.
And that's what I'm like, you guys don't even know. And sorry about the divergent on this.
No, it's just that they don't know their history. And that goes back to that. And they all just get into this bubble of security, of this false sense of security.
Yeah.
And start taking things for granted. And then there comes a time, it always comes around in cycles. And then, hey, now we all need guns again. And now you're looking for them because now you're a slave again.
Do you want to? The craziest thing is that at that time they were having a stabbing issue. Because I told them, like, bad people do bad things no matter what. It doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
There's like people are not inherently good or bad, but when they become bad, they become really fucking bad. And when they become good, it's only a moment until they could fall to the bad side. You have to work to be good. That's not the easy road. Oops.
No, it's not the easy road.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that's interesting. You said that. I'm going to make a point of that because there's things that going on in my own life and the conversations I'm having with people, and it's that thing right there. The good way, the ethical way, the disciplined way, the moral way. It's not the easy way.
No, it's never.
Anyway, Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I'm like, what's going on in Bristol, which is right by Wales, okay? I'm like, what's going on in Bristol? Would you walk alone in Bristol? She's like, no. I'm like, why wouldn't you walk alone in Bristol? And she's like, it's violent down there. People are getting stabbed to death. And I'm like, weird. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, there's more stabbings per capita in London and in England than there is anywhere in the United States. But hey, guns are bad.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, look at the gun crime or the violent gun deaths. I'm like, if you take away suicides, it's like only 10-15% of what that is.
Yeah.
Because they consider every freaking gun death a violent death. Of course, it's fucking violence. I just looked at her. I'm like, but that's fine. You go ahead, you watch your BBC, and you go ahead and you fucking fall in line with the rest of you sheep, and it's fine. You don't ever have to come to America. And you're going to sit here and you're going to say the things you're going to say, and you've never left your state, country, city-state in your country, whatever it is. You've never left. You're going to fucking go back to where you lived, where you grew up. You're going to be fucking there, and then you're just going to have this uninformed opinion about the world. You've never seen a third world country. You've never seen a second world country. Couldn't tell the difference between the two, and you sure as fuck don't know what violence is or why people have guns. That's okay. You guys lost. Peace, bitch.
Oh, man. I had to be in that country having those conversations with people over there. I don't know. That'd be tough. I've seen everything they're going through right now, and oof, we could go for hours on this, but it's just a reminder how people have their limited worldview, and they stick to it. They don't care about the history.
Yeah.
And they think that everything was good since Tuesday, so everything's always going to be good. And no. You're missing the broader picture here. So
yeah.
I'm lucky. I've been blessed to be I've been to 92 countries, 92,
wow.
93 countries, something like that. Yeah.
Wow. What was all that travel? Was most of that in the military, or was it
military travel?
Wow.
See, and I thought I was doing good. I think I did 26 when I was in the military.
That's a lot.
Yeah, in 4 years.
In 2003, during the invasion,
I was lame. I did one. Anyway,
so in 2003, during the invasion, we rocked over to Iraq, hit Kuwait. We rolled into Iran. We weren't supposed to roll into Iran, but we rolled into Iran.
It was like that left-hand turn you shouldn't have made.
No, the road gave away, and the only bypass was across the border. And you had to navigate all the fucking bombs that they put out in the middle of the road, all the fucking that were cleared.
Yeah.
Whatever. To get back on the road, to get back into Iraq. And there was no other way to go from the route that we were going. So, I mean, we've been in Iran. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Fucking whatever.
Wow. Did anything happen from that? Anybody
No, I mean we did probably
Nobody got in trouble for that.
No, like we rolled up to the border of Iraq and Iran like week 3 or 4 after fighting in Al-Nusra, and they have like these castles that like are counter to each other. There's an Iranian castle right across from it, like 500 yards, is an Iraqi castle, and they literally mirror each other all the way down the fucking border. So we roll up to take over this castle because we need a place to stay. We need a.
We needed a castle.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a real. It was like an outpost. I don't know. It was a small castle. It's a baby castle.
A baby castle.
It's a little baby castle. So
a Motel 6 of castles.
I would say probably like a Motel 8.
Okay.
Like, well, they'll leave the lights on for you or whatever. Is
Yeah.
that the Motel 6? Whichever one that
I think
is.
Motel 6 will
leave the
lights
torch on for you.
Yeah. Whatever. Whichever one leaves the lights on for you. Because as soon as we rolled up, we had 25 LAVs rolling up. And next thing you know, the Iranians in their castle start popping flares. Flare after flare. The whole night was popping flares. And we were like, I wonder what they're doing over there. Probably shitting themselves. Because there's probably only 4 of them in the castle. Next thing you know, the next day,
Those are signal flares for we need backup.
they're popping flares to see if we're rolling across because they don't have NVGs.
Okay.
So we're just like, cool story, bro. Like, I'm gonna get some sleep now because like looks like there's like only 4 or 5 of you. It doesn't matter. Next thing you know, next morning, like the entire Iranian army showed up. It felt like they all fucking rolled up and they were surrounding the castle, like posturing and shit. And we're like, well, all right, cool. So then the U.S. being the U.S. and Cobra pilots being Cobra pilots, fucking, they're hot shit, but they're not always smart. They're coming in, they bring in the general. So the general's being escorted. General Natoski, I remember him very well because he was a general that was generally retarded, with a hard R. Anyway, so you're probably gonna have to edit that out. It's fine. So these helicopters, there's 3 of them. There's 2 gunships and there's just the Black Hawk that's rolling in with the general on it, and they just kind of go in and they circle around the Iraqi or the Iranian castle, around the Iraqi castle, back around again one more time, and then they go and try to land. And they start popping flares at them. Yeah. And so they're, oh, shit, we're in Iranian airspace. So they have to come across the border, 200 yards. And I'm just like, I'm just a Lance Corp. I'm just an E3, man. I don't know what shit's going on. I'm just laughing my ass off. I'm like, these fucking guys. Who the fuck's coming into here? The general gets off. He's like,
I accidentally almost landed in Iran.
He's just like, hey, gents, I just wanted to come out here and I just wanted to tell you guys are doing a great fight. We're winning the war. We're winning the war. And I'm like, cool, man. Like, did you bring supplies? Because I don't really fucking care. I haven't changed my socks got up and walked away 3 weeks ago. I wash them in a freaking ammo can. They go to dry them and a windstorm happens and freaking they're covered in dirt. It's like ridiculous. It doesn't matter what you do. So... And he's like, oh, man, we want to win the hearts and minds of these people. And I'm like, okay. Sitting there as a Lance Corporal, shutting my mouth, not saying anything. And he's like, we're going to form a national soccer team. Because I was part of Task Force Taro, which is like a hallowed name. It's like very hallowed. My grandfather fought for Task Force Tarawa as a naval ship-to-shore communicator in World War II. Wow. And I fought for Task Force Tarawa during the invasion in Iraq as a Marine. And... it's like one of the most renowned task forces ever. It's only been used twice, and both in pretty big conflicts. So this guy fucking walks off, and he's like, national soccer team, and we want to have a Marine Corps team called the Tarawa Tigers. And I'm not a person who shies away from just fucking laughing at stupid shit. I start fucking laughing.
He didn't have a mascot already, did he?
Oh,
Jeez.
the tigers, man. Tarawa tigers, bro. Like, I mean, like, in my mind, it's like a Marine, like Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing.
I'm just like, oh, fuck this. I just start laughing. And he's like, you guys should go out there and play some ball with the kids in the neighborhood, in the area. And we're like, what? Are we fighting a war? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, I'm like, send me home, man. If you don't need me to fight, I'd like to go back to the States because, like, these MREs are bullshit. I haven't shit in like 3 weeks. Like,
wow. And you want us to like spend our time off time here playing soccer over here.
Yeah. So then we move on from the place, and then we meet this fucking guy again. Like the second time. And we're at this place, we called it the Oasis. It's somewhere in between Al Qut and Jazra, Iraq. And so, you know, you're on the eastern side of Iraq, running along Iran. And we're in this place where it's literally like an oasis. Everything else is a fucking desert. But this place is like all green and shit. Like there's mosquitoes, there's fucking giant bugs, and there's green trees, like palm trees and palm leaves, and it's beautiful and wonderful, and you're just hanging out, and this fucking guy comes back in, dude. And the major, who's now the commanding general for 4th Marine Division, a good friend of mine, Doug Clark, goes, all right, Marines, let's go start a soccer game with the kids. And we're like, what the fuck, sir? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, I don't care if you take your boots off or not. I'd prefer that you keep your boots on. And we're like, what? So the general lands, and like they're like, Robertson, come play soccer. I'm like, I don't know how to play soccer.
As a general's landing, hey, everybody look like you're playing soccer.
Dude, that's a real thing. Ask Cole. Like, they do stupid shit like that all the fucking time. It's a dog and pony show. So like now you have a bunch of Marines out there playing against a bunch of kids, and the kids are trying to play soccer against dudes with boots. They have bare feet.
They're kicking your guys' booty.
No, we're stepping on every one of their fucking toes and breaking their feet so we win. Because that's a Marine way. That's a Marine Corps way. Like, we don't lose. It don't matter. Like, I'm sorry, you showed up to a soccer match without shoes, and we've got boots. Like, not my fucking problem, bro.
That's winning hearts and minds right there.
Right.
Well,
oh my gosh.
That's probably where the downfall of the Hearts and Minds campaign started. But like, and a lot of people probably listening to the podcast will probably be like, "That's fucked up." Well, no, you know what's fucked up is that you were sent to war and then you were told to go fucking play soccer with a bunch of kids while you were missing soccer games with your family.
Right. Yeah,
that's the fucked up part.
Right, and they're just probably people who are like, "I wish we could just play soccer without these foreigners, soldiers here. Like, we didn't need our opposition imported in here to play soccer with us."
They didn't just give a fuck. None of them cared. They didn't.
No.
They were like, oh, shit, mom and dad died from mustard gas because Saddam's a dick. But you know what that means? More soccer.
Yeah.
I can play more soccer.
Yeah.
Like, the kids, like, they're so used to it. Like, the thing about overseas in the Middle East, everybody wants to win the hearts and minds. But they've been ruled by a iron fist and sword for 2,000 years. You ain't going to change that culture. You're an idiot if you think you are. They're so indoctrinated with all of their belief systems, no different than America now, that they're just, you're not going to change them.
Yeah.
So why? Like, you don't got to friggin' have a long-term campaign. If you're going to go to war, go to war. If you're going to go and do whatever bullshit humanity thing that we did to feed the big, giant industrial machine, just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Like, just call it what it is. Like,
and you know, and it's how it's like that way. I mean, we could sit here.
Hits hard.
You could rattle off conflict after conflict, and it's kind of the same. I mean, it is the same.
The last fight. Sorry.
We go in thinking we're going to import our culture, and it doesn't work that way.
The last fight that was worth a fight was World War II. Maybe Korea. That's the last fight worth a fight. Nothing else has mattered since then. Ever since then, we just keep making enemies of the people we keep invading. We train the people that we invade with, and then years later, you can keep it. I'll just take the peach. And then years later, they turn up and they already know our tactics and they fight us. Afghanistan
Exactly.
Iraq, Vietnam, Korea, every one of those fucking groups, every one of those wars, every one of those conflicts, we taught them how to fight, and then they come back and they turn around on us. Stop teaching the neighbors how to fight.
We can't help it.
No, we can. We just got to get.
Well, we can, and we can. I mean, we're gonna go into. I told you we'd go into rabbit holes, right?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
And it is, because this whole thing that we were talking about could be, and we wouldn't have to do it, but it's not. We're not there for the touchy-feely. We're there because somebody needs damn money. Some corporation. It's all based on money.
But
it has nothing to do with.
But the multitude of the guys who are there, they're doing it because, hey, the day before, somebody flew planes into our buildings and attacked us, right?
Right.
We're there. I mean, most of the people that are going there or who are joining the military, there, I feel like these guys, their hearts and minds are in the right place.
Oh, yeah.
But then you're right. The other side of that is we all figure it out later on. Every single time we get worked up on we get worked up over the first week of news on something, and then we all find out later on, the first initial story that got us all fired up about something wasn't really how it was.
Oh, yeah. It
went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you go back and watch... sorry, I don't know if you guys conspiracize, but I don't think it's conspiracy anymore at this point. But you go back and you watch 2 weeks before 9/11, and is it Cheney or Rumsfeld? Who was the fucking who's the Secretary of Defense?
Rumsfeld.
Okay, so Rumsfeld announces that they're missing $1.2 trillion. I'm
aware.
Yes.
$1.2 trillion is missing from the federal defense budget.
Yeah.
What does anybody know where the bookkeeping office was?
Building 7.
Correct. What didn't get hit by planes?
Yeah.
What didn't even have debris fall on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that, and then what side of the Pentagon was penetrated? The finance side.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay,
yes, I'm on board.
Here we are. I'm sorry, you can't. After a certain amount of time in life, your conspiracies are no longer conspiracies because you're not reaching anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, the FOIA of that says
Right.
this is where all the records were kept was Building 7. And this wing of the Pentagon is where all the finance, which was the backup for Building 7, was kept. Also, the video of the quote-unquote plane crashing into the Pentagon does not show a plane. You cannot see it because it was a fucking rocket. It was a missile. And the still frame that they had to try to slow it down doesn't show any of that. Like, if a fucking airplane crashes, it's going 500 miles an hour. That's fine. Rockets and missiles go faster than that to the point where you can't see them at all with the human eye. You can't. So, you watch the fucking videotape that you can FOIA, and they have to release the tape, and all it shows is a beginning and then an explosion. An airplane would leave fucking airplane debris.
Yeah, wings,
anything, tail number, black box,
something,
indestructible black box,
right?
Like, so now all of a sudden, here's what happens, and this is the thing that pisses me off because I've lost 27 friends to suicide from the military. I've lost 4 friends to death overseas in action. Many friends have arms, legs missing. I've been blown up twice. Bunch of bullshit, if you ask me. Like, I am now a Vietnam veteran 2.0. A lot less LSD, a little bit better spoken than most. And so you have this piece where you, as an American, think that the federal government is your friend.
That couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, they're so fucking terrible.
Oh, yeah.
They are the worst people. And you look at, like, even where we're at right now with the election season, right?
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, hey man, are you a Democrat or you're a Republican? I'm like, no, fuck those bitches. They're WWF stars. You got freaking The Undertaker powerbombing freaking The Rock out in front of everybody, getting cheers and rahs or whatever. Everybody's choosing a side. In the back, they're fucking smoking or doing coke off hookers' asses and joking about the game that they just played on everybody. That people think it's real. It's not. None of it's real. They're all the same fucking guys, money laundering the same shit to the same countries. And they're all getting rich off of fucking heroes' backs.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate it.
I think more and more of us, everybody's waking up to it. More and more people are waking up to it. As many as there are, though, that are oblivious to it and choose to continue to be oblivious to it, it's so discouraging. But yet, the same thing. Like I keep finding more and more like-minded people who realize what's really going on here, and that's the good side of that, is that it is starting to, hey, people are talking about it out in the open, and we're putting it all together of like, hey, you can go back to Vietnam, you can go back to all these things, and like, you know, hey, the things that we got all worked up about, like, okay, now we find out that didn't happen. What the submarine at what was in Vietnam? The LBJ used that sub. They said they launched a torpedo at a destroyer, and it was the something resolution that he went and got passed for us to expand in Vietnam. It didn't happen. They didn't fire on us, but we all got worked up about it. Mm-hmm. They pushed that, and now all of a sudden we're in there, and 58,000 boys don't come home.
Yeah, it's a bunch of fucks. I've decided, and this is the thing that sucks, right? So I've decided that all politicians are the same. And I'll give you an example, and this is going to be this is really recent. I spent an hour with the governor of Montana. Nice guy. Super, super nice guy. He sent me a letter thanking me for my time as the Bearded Viking. But he didn't put my fucking name. I am the Bearded Viking. My face is the fucking logo, right? And this is not an ego thing. This is where I'm like, yeah, you're all fucks because you don't care. Or your aide didn't care. He wrote down a guy who didn't even talk. His name. Hey, Donnie. He's a business partner. And I'm mad props to Donnie. Don't get me wrong. But, they don't fucking care. They're here literally just as a show. Look, this governor fucking supports veterans. Fuck you, man. You got the only guy in the company who's not a fucking veteran. You put his name on the fucking letter. Suck all the dicks in the world. Right after you stuffed them in your mom.
And it's the one he didn't even talk to.
No, dude, it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, he didn't talk to him at all.
Not at all. That's the part that see, that's what I'm saying. They're all the same. It doesn't matter. He's a right-wing guy.
Yeah.
Left-wing guy Tester has called me and talked to me on the phone. And I'm like, bro, I need this thing fixed. And he's like, I'll get my guys on it. And he does the same thing. Sends a fucking letter. Sorry, man, we couldn't do anything. Well, what the fuck are you then? You're so far removed from being what you're supposed to be. None of us care. It's getting I don't know how you guys feel, but more and more people that I know are like, why would I vote?
Yeah, it doesn't
help.
No. Years ago I saw a push online. I think it was 10th Amendment Center. And they were basically saying that the best chance you have of changing anything is getting involved in your local or state elections. And whatever the corruption is at that federal level, you can't do anything about it. You just can't. The only body that has the finances and any type of resources to make any difference is at your state and local level. Get involved there. And I started really thinking about that, and I started to care more about that for sure. Everybody gets wrapped up in the drama at the federal level and the general election and all this other stuff, but really, as we're seeing right now, we're not even allowed to, at least on the Democrat side, they're not even allowed to even vote for in the primaries. Their person did not get elected by anybody, and yet, so it's all just chosen, and it's all just put there for you. Same thing. So that's what I'm saying. It made a lot of sense. You can't do anything at that level. You can only do it at your local level.
I don't even think you can fucking do anything at your local level at this point.
Really?
Yeah, think about it. Just the fucking governor was here. That's pretty fucking local. We have one representative running for our state government for Stillwater County. There is no Democrat running. There's only a Republican. What are you going to do? Republican versus Republican? Like, come on. They don't let that happen. So what can you do? Don't get me wrong. She's a nice gal, but like, I wouldn't vote for her. I'm sorry. She doesn't fucking... She came over to the meeting and asked me, like, what are your thoughts? I'm like, burn it down. She's like, what do you mean burn it down? I'm like, well, let me ask you, like, who are you running against? Nobody. I'm the only person running. Don't you see the fucking problem with that?
Yeah.
Like, that's a fucking problem.
That's not a lot of choice.
Yeah. So what are you going to do at the local level in Stillwater County? How are you going to be represented? She doesn't fucking even answer phone calls. Unless she needs you in fucking election season. Get fucked, man. There's nothing you can... It's all shit. It's a shit show. Burn it down. Bring me my place where we can have real conversations and not a bipartisan system, but have people in place that don't get extra perks. Like, if you want to be a civil servant, go be a civil servant, because I sure as fuck got paid dick when I was in the Marine Corps. Cole took a long time to get where he's at, but I mean, as a young cop, you get paid dick.
Well, when I started, it was $13 an hour.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree to a point, but I do agree with Milo. You know, I refuse to totally get to that point to where, like, I can't have any kind of effect here locally. What federally, even statewide, I'm not going to. But here, and I don't have to be in government to do it. I mean, granted, I am.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not a politician at all. And it's apparent if you ever go to a city council meeting, I am not that guy. Most of us on there aren't. But even without that, if you want to make a difference here, go fucking do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Go do it. You don't have to be a politician. You don't have to be one of your top 3%ers in Stillwater County or whatever. If you want to make a difference, go do it. I mean, and the people I'm sitting with in this room are prime examples of that. Milo, in the time that you've been in Stillwater County, how much positive influence have you put on the community? A shit ton. You've been here even a less amount of time, but the amount of influence that you've put in this community is not measurable because you've wanted to do it. So as long as there's people with that mindset, our local area, our small area that we can actually have some kind of control over, not control, we can have some kind of influence over if we work towards it positively. Like you said, it's super easy to be the bad person.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to be a good guy. Why do we aspire to be like the samurai? Why do we watch all these TV dramas about Navy SEALs or these warriors? Because the good path is not the easy path.
Because I'm Iron Man.
I am Iron Man. I'm Batman.
No, I think you're right on, right?
Know?
You're perfectly on board. So I have a couple of mantras that I live by, that I live and die by. They are who I am, and I try really hard every day to do the right thing. And here's the thing, like, I'm not fucking perfect. You're not perfect. None of us are, right?
Yeah.
You make choices sometimes, and you're just like, fuck, dude, why did I make that choice? And it eats at me often. A lot of time, the choices that I make that are negative impact, they really fucking eat at me. But my number one mantra is the only way to affect change in the world is by being the change that you want to see. Now, I don't know where I fucking picked that up, but I'm going to fucking claim it as mine until somebody tells me otherwise. And here's why I got to the point with that. I used to be a poor pity me guy, and I fucking hate victim mentality. I hate it. It is a bullshit excuse. I believe in extreme ownership and extreme accountability. I'm accountable for both good and bad things that I do. I own both good and bad things that I do. Doesn't matter what they are. So I want the world to be free thought. I want them to understand that even though you were wearing 4 masks in your Prius with a coexist sticker that doesn't actually work, I can listen to why that works for you. I can understand that. That's the change that we don't have. There's no conversation. None whatsoever. You want to tell me about why it's great to be a Democrat? Cool. You want to tell me why it's great to be a Republican? Cool. I want to tell you guys why it should be burnt the fuck down. Cool. None of us have to agree.
Define burn it down.
Start fresh. If you're over the age of 55, get the fuck out.
This is true.
Get the fuck out. You do not represent any of us.
Nope.
Number one. Number two,
agree with that.
If you are in Congress, if you are a president, if you are in any public office, part of your swearing in means that we watch your finances. We get to see everything. You want a fucking OnlyFans page? Not my fucking problem. I'm okay with it. But you want to fucking all of a sudden do some insider trading shit? No. If you invest in the COVID-19 fucking vaccine like you're Nancy Pelosi because you know a fucking deal's coming down for Pfizer, I want to know about it. Burn it down. Get rid of it. You are term limits.
Yep.
So how do you go about getting them to agree to that?
Words that I can't say because you won't be able to publish it.
Right.
They start with an R.
Right.
And they remind me of evolving.
Right. That's the thing.
And one thing that I've always been a proponent of, and it'll never happen. I don't say it'll never happen, but at every year, the constituency that you represent, they get to vote. And if you're doing a less than 80% rating in that constituency, you're gone.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're not working for the people that you supposedly represent, then why are you there? You shouldn't be allowed to be there. And when your term limit is done, you go back to like Cole and you get a job. You don't get this freaking amazing pension that the taxpayers completely pay for. You go back into society and you work, and then you understand what the people that just replaced you are going to have to go through, and maybe we'll have a little bit more accountability for what we have.
Dude, I want more. You want to know who my only politician that I've ever liked is? Ever? Trey Gowdy. That motherfucker crucified Jim Como or whatever his name is. I loved watching him just fucking make that worm squirm. But then he said,
did Trey Gowdy, did he go to prison?
No, he's the Republican, or he was the lawyer from South Carolina.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Oh, okay.
I know who you're thinking of, though.
No. Trey Gowdy was the one who did only 2 term limits and said, my time is
okay,
done.
I know. Okay, I can picture.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about there. I'm talking about, okay, I'm thinking of this other guy. I loved him, and he was great. Trey Gowdy is good. I mean, super smart guy. He can break it down. Yeah. All that. I totally agree with you 100%. Yeah. But there was a funny guy that he could nail it, man. He stood up. He could nail things, but I don't know what it was. But all of a sudden, he went to prison afterwards, and it was over some ticky-tacky stuff or money, or it was over something. Anyway, never mind. Yeah. But, okay.
So the burn it down for me is you have to start, like, it's so ingrained. Like, you look... Like the 3-letter agencies and the agencies that don't have letters. Like, people want to say the deep state doesn't exist. It fucking exists. It totally
exists.
It's so bad. Like, they're all fucking puppets. And you sit here and you don't want to say it out loud because, listen, man, I don't know how many people got mugged by Clinton. I mean, Clinton by whatever. But, like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right? It happens all the time. That's the problem, though. The only way for you to win, to change it, it has to have a great refresh. Thomas Jefferson said that, every great country needs a revolution every 200 years. Well, we're past due. I don't want it.
Right.
But the further we go down this woke fucking bullshit, the further we have these two parties that are really dividing our country. They're not bringing unity. There's no more common ground. There's no more moderate Republican. There's no more moderate, Democrat. They're driving us apart.
Yeah.
Dude, racism was fucking dead in like the 2000s, early
until like 2010. Did you see that? There's a graph that shows. Did you see that graph?
Yeah, it's fucking when Obama started doing Obama shit.
Well, it was just like, okay, here it is. This is how many times these words get mentioned in the media, and like it was in 2010. All of a sudden, it just takes off. It just all of a sudden, it was like, okay, this is when we're going to start talking about this, and ever since 2010, it has been like my kids now are saying like they can't believe this or that, or it's been normalized enough for them. And I'm like, no. You don't remember, but it was not long before you. This wasn't all going on. This is artificial. This is not how it's been. This is not how it was in the 90s.
The only time it was like this in the 90s was when Rodney King got fucked up. And that's it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not from the South, and I don't know all that. However,
on the general...
on the big scale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And Rodney King was literally some cops that did some shit they shouldn't have done.
They shouldn't have done. Yeah.
And there's a lot of anger, and I think there was a lot of opportunistic people who were like,
Weird.
oh, everything's crazy, so I'm going to get mine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much.
You mean like Minnesota a few years ago?
Yeah.
Or George Floyd?
But again, it all goes back
Same
to...
thing. Everybody takes advantage of that.
Exactly,
Like, let me just throw a brick through this window.
It all goes back
happens.
to what you said 30 minutes ago. The path to goodness is twice as hard as the lane to being bad.
It's so hard to be good.
And it can happen like that.
Yeah.
It's so easy. I mean, you see it. I've seen it in person. I'm sure you have too. Like, you have that friend who's just like, just wholesome and awesome, right? And all it takes is just hanging out with the wrong person at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're gone.
Yeah.
And they're no longer good. It can happen to you on a daily basis. It could happen to you in a fucking moment. All it takes is one road rage incident. I fucking hate driving in downtown Billings because the one-way streets are fucking ridiculous. And I just want to murder everybody on the roads. Every fucking one of them. I'm like, dude, I have a 1-ton truck. You have not that. This is a lug nut rule. Get the fuck out of the way. It's not that hard. You don't have to like slow to a stop to make a right-hand turn. You can progress through the turn you could just do that. That's fine. It takes me a lot to get going, and I'm trying to save gas. Could you please fuck off? I have a hardest time. I mean, it literally moments where I'm like,
for me, it's not the people in front of me, it's the people behind me. I can't stand tailgaters. I can't stand people that are up on you.
oh yeah.
Oh man, that irritates me so bad. That's the one where when I watch the news or I see something and they're like, oh, one man shot another guy in his driveway because and it's like two guys followed each other home and something happened. And I'm like, not that I'm condoning it. I understand it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like people they want to push themselves upon other people. Like, I'm going to pressure you because you're not doing what I think you should be doing. That's the thing that I'm like, that gets to me.
People also who do 50 in the left lane.
Okay, yeah.
The left lane is for passing.
No, 100%.
We understand that, right?
Oh, I was a long haul truck driver for 8 years. I put my blinker, I go to the left lane, and then I come back. Like,
Dude,
I go to the left lane, and then I come back.
I like to cruise in the left lane if I'm doing 85. That's fair. And the only reason why is because I'm passing most people.
Right.
Right? I mean, or 88. I don't know what the rule is. You're the police officer. Like,
I don't think you're supposed to go past 80. We'll scratch that from the record.
Blink how many times the miles per hour are that's acceptable, and he can edit that out.
Right.
Cole, what is the rule on that? How fast over the speed limit can we go in the left lane?
What is considered excessive?
I like to stay in the left lane when I'm over 92 miles an hour.
If I'm passing somebody and they're doing 90, but I'm passing them because they're being assholes.
Yeah.
Can I go to 95 and then come back down to 80 and be safe? This is the question.
It depends. Am I watching this?
Is it 30 minutes before my shift ends?
Exactly. Yes. What time of day? Yeah. What time of night? No, actually, it's if you're doing one over. I mean, according to MCA, I can pull you over at 81 or whatever. But every officer has discretion. Every officer has their standards of what they're going to do to pull somebody over and not pull somebody over. I have my own that are going to be different than my brother, who's also a cop, and we work together. Bob. Okay, I'm going to call this out on the podcast, and Bob can bitch at me all he wants. I was doing 73 on Highway 10, maybe 74. Anyway, speed limit 70. He flipped his lights at me which I thought he was saying, hey, what's up? And then I look in my rear view. Here comes Bob. Lights going. I'm like, really? Maybe he had to talk to me. I don't know. We've done that before. If I see somebody that I'm, and they're not at work and I need to talk to them, I'm like, hey, dude, I'm just going to pull you over. I'll come visit with you, get it sorted out so we can go on our business. And then he pulls me over. And I'm like, hey, Bob, what's up? But I'm still doing all my shit because even though we're coworkers, I'm not going to fuck around. I mean, that's just not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah.
So I'm a hands on the steering wheel guy, and I roll the window down. I'm like, hey, Bob, what's up? He's like, oh, yeah, I knew it was you as soon as I got behind you. And I'm like, yeah. I said, what's wrong? He's like, flash my lights at you. And I looked and you didn't tap your brakes or anything. I'm like, yeah, first off, I thought you were saying, hey, Cole, what's up? Secondly, I was doing like 4 over, bud. He's like, yeah, I'll pull you over for 4 over. I'm like,
I know, he's pulled me over before.
Yeah. So, but I'm not a 4 over guy. That's just not. And I look at it differently. I look at it like, I don't know. And maybe we edit this out. I don't know. But is 4 miles an hour.
You get 1 hour after the end of this recording.
I know.
I'm
we got to tell JT.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I know. But is me getting shot and maybe not going home to see my kids worth 4 miles an hour?
Right. I mean,
No,
it's never worth 4 miles an hour.
No. Now, that being said, if there's a reason, okay, so there's a whole bunch of intel on this vehicle. It's doing 4 over. Okay? Yeah, maybe I do pull it over. But in the general, everyday law enforcement world, is 4 miles an hour over the posted speed limit, which is a violation of law, worth me getting shot over?
Hell no.
No, it's not. And this is me personally. Every law enforcement officer all across this country makes that determination in their head, or they should. Once you get out of FTO, which is our field training, if you have a decent field training program, once you get out of that, there should be a determination about how are you going to operate within the scope of your job, what you have and what you cannot do. And for me, a 4 mile an hour traffic violation, 99.99% of the time is not worth me possibly getting shot over.
5 mile an hour.
No. Oh, we're doing this is the conversation. I'd had this conversation. What's the oldest that you would?
Oh, that type of conversation.
The same thing. 4 mile, 5 mile an hour.
Oh,
so like 65, maybe 66. What if it's Betty White on her deathbed and you're the last notch in her belt?
That's just weird.
Yeah.
No, is it? Or is that I'm the king of the kingdom?
This went from miles per hour to Betty White on her deathbed really fast.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you invite a Marine on the podcast.
And you're drinking.
Those Marines go charging in.
Bathtub hooch. That's almost gone.
Top tier bathtub hooch.
Top tier bathtub. So, we should probably circle this back.
Wait. I have one more. Okay, I do want to circle this back, but
Okay.
I have one more question about all this.
Which one? The Betty White part?
No.
Okay.
Speed limits?
Oh, I could talk all day. This is
Speed limits with Betty White.
This is one area Cole and I never talk about. We never talk about like law enforcement stuff.
Because I need those friends
Right.
that I don't have to talk about work with.
100%. And it's like an unspoken thing. I respect that.
Right.
And I
Right.
there's times where I'm like, I have a question. I'm like, oh, I'll message you, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, because I respect that. Anyway, but what is this then? Okay, when you were talking about your word that starts with an R, and that when how do you fix this or how do you burn it down? Okay, so what is your what is the I don't know how to say this, I guess. Isn't it weird that we're in America and we have to like
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
We're just a couple years removed from a couple decades removed from Britain, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess what are your thoughts? Is it desirable? If so, how desirable? Is it for a peaceful divorce option, and how realistic is that?
So, first question, it's not desirable at all whatsoever. Like, no matter what anybody says, it's not desirable.
Why is that?
Because death on your doorstep is not something you ever want your kids to experience.
And I honestly don't think most people in this country could handle it.
No.
They could not.
No.
Not in 2024.
You're saying you don't think peaceful divorce is possible?
No, fucking no. Like,
I don't agree. I don't think it is either.
No, like, as soon as you try to take away the power from those that have power, they retaliate with force. Martial law. What happens with martial law?
Oh, I know. I'm aware.
Everything that happens with martial law, all you have is a bunch of fucking farvas running around talking about how they fucking got you, fucker, with their soap in your coffee, and all you are doing is retaliating. But you don't have their stupid rules, and I know way too much about insurgency to play their fucking game, and I don't care. So second rule that I follow for my life. I can't remember who said it, but it's been said a lot. You don't know the amount of violence it took for me to become this gentle.
Oh my God. Dude, I just read that the other day for like the 500th time. Who said that?
I don't know, but it's a fucking truth.
It wasn't Tim Kennedy that originally said it, was it?
No, he's not that well spoken. No.
I feel like this is a conversation we're going to have one night.
It's going to be awesome. He's very well spoken, but he's not that well spoken.
Who freaking said that? I know.
I can picture his face, but here's the thing.
For the record, I don't think peaceful divorce is possible either. I know people throw it around, okay?
Yeah.
But that's why I was wanting to get your perspective on that.
No,
but keep going.
It's not possible. And here's the most cliche thing you'll ever hear. It's like I feel like I'm just fucking throwing out quarterback quotes, but they're all real. Ultimate power ultimately corrupts. Once people have power, they will not give it up.
No, they won't.
If you don't believe me, just look at your local HOA president or whoever.
Yeah,
right?
I live in one. Yeah.
Same. So, and that's not even power. That's like, hey,
an
we're
HOA
maintaining.
is like a microcosm.
It's whoever invented that shit needs to be shot, drawn, and quartered in front of his kids, and his kids need to be bankrupt for his fucking sins.
That's a clip. Go ahead and cut that.
I will. I remember that.
Yeah. No.
I don't belong to an HOA, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No. It 100%. Okay. So peaceful divorce is not possible.
No.
You don't think, and so therefore it's not desirable. I mean, I would think. Okay. I know it's not possible.
But has there ever been a peaceful divorce from the populace and the government in history?
No.
You know, if you go back, I guess I don't know this. I don't know this period of time. I wasn't paying attention well enough. But when the Soviet Union fell apart, it just kind of broke apart into separate states, and there was chaos, and there was a lot of things going on. I don't know enough about it, but I just don't remember. Now, I do remember there was stuff in Romania. I was actually, when I was a driver trainer, I trained a guy. He lived with me for like a month in my truck, and he got forced into the military in like Romania or someplace, and he was telling me how he's like, I got stuck in front of this bank, and I was in a foxhole, and it was during the breakup of the Soviet Union when everybody was trying to sort out who's going to be in charge of what, and he just would tell me stories about like he and his buddies were put in front of this bank, and you just shoot anybody who comes toward this bank. And so, but I don't know about, I can't really remember though how many. There's a lot of countries that broke apart there and started to do their own thing there, and I don't know about I don't know. I'm ignorant on that, but what I'm saying there is that I don't know. I don't know that it's possible. I'm not suggesting it is. I'm trying to picture that though. Are there been times where there has been a union that has broken apart, or if somebody breaks off where, hey, it's all right, we can all be friends?
Maybe the only one would be when Great Britain relinquished Australia, which was a fucking prison colony.
No.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that is the only thing that I can think of.
But there was still that guy that tried to start a revolution in Australia when Britain still had control.
Quigley?
No, but Quigley's an awesome movie. I actually have one of those rifles. We should go shoot it.
Hell of a long shot.
Allegedly.
No, but I have that. I have one of those Quigley rifles.
We need to go do that.
We will go do that.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
I gotta see.
No,
that.
but there was this guy that started an uprising in Australia, and I'm pretty certain Britain still had control. Oh, God, what's his name? They even made a movie about it a few years ago. Charlie Hunnam was the main character, I think. But yeah, he tried to start an uprising over. I mean, it was almost kind of like a Robin Hood story, But he was really adamant about Britain giving up control over Australia.
America 2.0.
Picture this
Pretty
though.
much.
Picture this though. Like, let's say Montana. This is, international border, tons of resources. I don't know. Like, I just try to picture a situation where, and I know other states have talked about it, are talking about it, are proposing it, but in today's world where everybody is more connected communication wise. It's harder to dehumanize them when you're looking at their TikTok all the time, or you have family friends that go there, whatever. I just think, is there a chance that you could possibly say, hey guys, we don't like this system, much love, we're going to go ahead and do our own thing, or is it going to be like, okay, well, here come the feds, and
no, 100% here come the feds.
Come to control the oil fields.
It's 100% here come the feds. Here's the problem that you have, and you will always have, always will have. The federal government will not relinquish control of what they own.
That's right.
They will not do it. It will never happen. You can peacefully do whatever the fuck you want.
The last time it happened was in 1868. They relinquished 4 forts, and the Sioux burned them down.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Red Cloud.
Yeah,
that was the last time. That was the only time.
That's the only time they've done that.
Yeah, they aren't relinquishing shit. If Montana seceded from the Union, okay, there's a lot to have a conversation about.
We're gonna have to put this whole conversation behind a paywall. Go ahead.
So, the reason why it can't is because we don't have a grow season. We don't have a grow season. You cannot support us in this state on what we have for vegetables and things that we use.
Correct. Could you get it though through Canada?
No. Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. Fucking Justin Trudeau would literally be like, oh, you guys suck. You guys are guns and you don't believe in masks and you want freedom. And he'd just shut the wall. He would just be a wall of Mounties.
Okay. I'm not going to argue that. I agree. I'm just throwing what ifs out there. I like playing devil's advocate.
The only way that you secede from the Union is you remove the left coast and the east coast. And I said that specifically that way because that's how that is. The left coast and the east coast. You cut out Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. New Mexico and Nevada, who has absolutely nothing to actually provide. Sorry, it's true though.
100%.
Not a fucking thing, because you can get strippers and cocaine anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and then you push around the Bible Belt for like Georgia and those things. If you take the center of America and we all united, then we would control everything. But right now, if you try to do anything, let's say the R word does come out. Montana's District 12. Montana's fucking District 12.
Yeah.
They're just going to come here, and there's not enough people. There's more cows here than there are fucking humans.
Yeah.
So if the federal government says no, that's still ours, what are you going to do? You think you can take on all the people? Look, I can tell you how to take on an M1A1 Abram. I can tell you how that works. I can tell you how you don't have to worry about freaking jets and shit. I can tell you all about that shit because they aren't going to fucking do mass collateral damage. They need people here to help change the populace back. Turncoats. They need turncoats. So if you start killing people, you're going to eliminate turncoats, and that's going to spread across the country. Here's the thing. That's just not going to happen. They will not let it happen. The only way that happens is if the entire middle portion of the country unifies as one. Still ain't going to happen, though.
Why is that?
The reason why it's not going to happen is because people allow things in the way. They would rather be, third thing that I live by, comfortable in hell versus uncomfortable in heaven.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I see it all the time, and I have friends who will say, I can't believe people aren't riding right now. And I'll say, well, that's because they can still get their stuff from Amazon on Tuesday. So,
yeah,
people are not willing yet to give up. They're not uncomfortable enough yet that they're going to resist some of these things that are obviously unconstitutional. We saw that during COVID. We saw, them chasing down people on the beach who are just a surfer guy, you know, that type of stuff, or following a lady home who's just like pushing a stroller in a park and like, ma'am, you're out of your house. You're not wearing a mask. Like there was actually guys out there willing to go and enforce these things.
You mean Gestapo?
Yes.
I believe they're actually called safety patrol.
Yeah.
If you remember those fucks
Yeah,
from
they
school.
were. Yes.
They were.
Fucking fucks.
And that's
Hall
where
monitor motherfuckers.
and that's where I feel like there's so many people that are oblivious to the fact that, or they'll say it could never happen here. No,
It's already happening.
It's happening. It's happening, and there is a large percentage of people who will go along with it because payday is on Friday, and they just don't want to put that in jeopardy.
Waves. Yeah, like that's,
you know.
yeah.
So they go along with it.
Yeah. No, that's the fucking thing that drives me nuts. I'm not like a Andy Frisella or a Jocko Willink. Like, I'm not fucking waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go train for the day that I die. No, man, I'm gonna get a double cheeseburger. I'm not that guy, right? But I'm also the guy who says, how the fuck do you not see this? I think I probably really started to understand how anti-federal government that I am during COVID. In the military, we have to wear a gas mask to go to a gas chamber to deal with a crystal-sized particle. Our gas mask filters out a crystal-sized particle. And you want me to put a fucking t-shirt on my face and think that's going to stop a pathogen, which is like 1/1,000,000th the size of a fucking crystal?
Yeah.
I'm not a smart man, but I sure as fuck ate the orange crayon that day. And I thought it was delicious. And guess what it did? It imparted this crazy knowledge that the military already showed me that this shit don't fucking fly. Why the fuck would I do that? And when I started to realize that, and then I was like, whoa, hold on. Why did I get a Japanese encephalitis fucking shot in the military? When was the last time somebody came down with Japanese encephalitis in Japan? Sure as fuck didn't happen in Iraq. There'd be Iraqi encephalitis, right?
Right.
When was the last time somebody fucking came down with yellow fever? Fucking tell me, because like
we got
fucking
shots.
yellow fever shots, right? Oh, hey, by the way, here's anthrax. I'm gonna stick that shit right in you.
I avoided anthrax somehow.
8
Really?
I got 8 of them.
Oh my goodness, I did not want that shot.
Dude, that shot sucked. I'm pretty sure I have arm cancer.
Yeah, I just kept on. I think I can't remember how I did it. I didn't have much time left.
No, that's called Pornhub.
Oh,
And I just avoided it. I avoided it. And I got told, hey, our show's on a record. You haven't been down to get your shot. You need to get that done. I was like, on it. I avoided it. I didn't get it.
The crazy shit. And this is where I started like really putting things together was during the pandemic. And you're lucky because fuck that bullshit. I also got the super irritating moment in my life. All right. So I get this stupid smallpox vaccination for Iraq. Okay. So get it. And then I have sleeve tattoos. I get it covered up because why? I don't really like a fucking giant round scar on my arm. So I get it covered up with a tattoo. I get out, join the Marine Corps or the Army, National Guard. Marine Corps records don't transfer all the way. None of the fucking medical records do because why would they? It's the same, whatever. I get ready. We're at our mobilization site in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. This guy comes up. He's like, Specialist Robertson, I need you to show up for your smallpox vaccination. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I already got it. He's like, well, I don't see a bandage on your arm. I'm like, it's because I got it during the fucking invasion, dude. He's like, what do you mean during the invasion? I'm like, well, it's required to go to Iraq, you fuck. And he's like, well, you have to come. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go get that. Well, then you can't deploy. Do you see on my DD-214, the one that I have from before when I got out of the Marine Corps, because you have my SRB, that it says that I fucking went to Iraq? Yeah. Can you send people to Iraq without a fucking smallpox vaccination? No. Do you hear your fucking words? Well, I'm just going to talk to your commanding officer. Okay. So my commanding officer, who's a good friend of mine now, he's a major. No, lieutenant colonel. Just got promoted. Blake comes over. He's like, Robertson, if you really had the vaccine, then we can prove that it works. Fuck you, sir, and your fucking brain. I hate you right now. So I go, and I'm like, fine, whatever. I'll play your fucking game. This is stupid. I'm literally fucking going to prove to you that I have this vaccine already. They do the little fucking 20 prick thing in the shoulder. 5 days go by, nothing at all. I go back in. Must have been a bad batch. I looked at him. I was like, you fucking touch me with that and you'll end up through the fucking wall. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I had my vaccine. I just proved to you that the vaccine works. Fuck off. And I walked right out. And my commanding officer, Blake, he's like, what was that all about? I'm like, I told you I already had it, sir. You can tell by the way that I don't have fucking a giant ass blister on my shoulder. And he's like, okay. So the staff sergeant comes running out to yell at me. And he's like, get your ass back in here right now. You're going to get this vaccine. And my commanding officer's like, I'm pretty sure that he told you that he's been to Iraq. Pretty sure that you fucking poked him right in front of me with this shit. And I have a fucking giant blister and he doesn't. That means that his ass is immune. Fuck off. Go back inside, staff sergeant. Now. I was like, thanks, man.
You never had anthrax, huh?
No.
Oh,
Nice.
you missed the burn, bro.
I got out of it.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think I was in the Guard at this time. I think I was in the Nevada National Guard at this point. I'd got out of the Army. I don't think it could have been right before I left Korea. It either was there or it was in Nevada, the Nevada National Guard, but that we were lining us all up for anthrax, and I got out of it. And I got out very soon right after that. I knew I had weeks left, and I'm like, I'm just avoiding this and avoiding this. I don't like shots anyway. That's the main point. Number one, I don't like shots. Two, I'm like, anthrax? Come on. Like, what? Like, I just did not like the sound of that. I just avoided it. So
The only place there's been anthrax is Montana.
Well, I mean, if you want to go fucking roll around in dead cattle and fucking, that's on you, man. That's where anthrax comes from.
Yeah.
Well, fuck off.
Or a small cabin in Lincoln, Montana.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's also that too, I guess. I'm not familiar with the story, but no.
Oh, there was a dude that lived in Lincoln, Montana in a cabin. Ted Kaczynski sent anthrax to the White House.
That guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's the Montana location. I just knew.
Yeah, Lincoln, Montana.
Unabomber.
Unabomber.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
People keep asking if I'm going to start buying hoodies for myself. Fuck off.
Yeah. So, getting out of the rabbit hole.
Okay. Yeah. That was my.
Let's
Right. Let's
I wanna hear
segue
about
over to this.
The meadery.
Let's talk about the meadery.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
How did the meadery come about? And it's the Bearded Viking.
Yeah.
Vico.
Yeah. People call me Vico.
Vico. Whatever, dude.
Vico Koresh.
I call you JT.
That's fair. I go by Vico for long, not for short.
For short.
Short's JT.
With a little heart on my Snapchat.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have a Snap Street. It's like
We
30,
do.
30 days.
I know, dude.
It's the longest I've ever been in a relationship with another man.
What is going on over there?
30 days.
30 days.
Do you have Snapchat?
I got it one time in I think 2016, and then I haven't been back on there.
So now that we're committed,
Obviously,
Now.
now that you guys are Snapchat
It
official,
started because he was overseas, and we started becoming friends. I don't know, a while back. I think we started talking like right after the great opening of the meteor, right?
yeah. But we met at Search and Rescue when we became so we could jump on
Oh yeah, we got our fucking lift tickets.
our lift tickets with
Yeah.
Two Bear.
Yeah.
Is when we met.
Yeah, and I thought you were in the Army for whatever reason, because I think Dev told me that.
Yeah, Dev was wrong.
Yeah, way off.
Yeah.
Fucking Samsonite.
I know, right?
Way off.
We're talking about Devin Pinkle.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's when we first met.
Yeah.
And then, dude, we met at the, but actually one of the Salt Lake dudes were like, hey, have you met JT?
What?
Yeah. Don't you remember that?
Maybe.
Yeah, but he's like this is the guy.
What
who's
Salt
running
Lake
the
dudes?
Oh, the Bearded Viking folks.
Bearded Viking guys.
Okay, so who's all in that team? Like, so it's
Oh.
There you go.
give me that background. There.
Okay. Where do you want to start? Beginning? Middle? I could do Pulp Fiction. We could do end, beginning, then middle.
Let's jump around.
Jump up and get down. Jump.
Yeah.
Jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jump around.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're not sole proprietor. It's a team.
Yeah. So the organization was founded by me. I'm the mead master, inventor of all the delectable flavors that you've never tasted, but I'm going to drink in front of you as we go. And this is peach and nutmeg, by the way.
Oh, that does sound
Do
amazing.
you want to smell it?
Yeah.
Okay, you should smell it.
I do.
Hold on.
The first time.
Just smell it. You can't take a drink because you'll break your thing.
That smells good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It tastes like you're biting into a peach that's 15.5% alcohol, but without alcohol.
How does that work? What do you mean?
Magic.
Okay.
Magic.
It's called science.
So you might explain to him what mead
Real
actually
science.
is.
Yeah.
Back to-
I mean, I have an idea,
Yeah.
but break it down for me.
Okay.
And my history of mead is not very long and extensive, but I had my NCO in the National Guard was I had his name, and I lost it, but he was way into mead, and I had never even heard of mead, and this was probably, I don't know, this was like, this was 98 or 99. And he's like, hey, I make this
you're
stuff.
older
It's
than me.
mead. He's like, hey, I make this stuff.
He's
It's-
older than both of us.
And he's like, hey, you should try this. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I make this at home. Da da da. Whatever. I took that home, and I drank like most of the bottle, or the whole bottle. Big mistake. It was very tasty, and massive headache later.
Really?
Yeah, but I get headaches a lot from anything and everything. Okay,
Oh.
so I don't know it wasn't the mead, but I'm just saying that I was like blown away.
it was
It
probably the
snuck
mead.
up on me. It tasted great. It was a honey mead, and that's all I remember him telling me. And that was my first time experiencing that. And then,
Yeah.
anyway, but I was blown away by it, and I never really came into anything as good as that after that.
No, most mead sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen, I've picked it up here or there when I've come across it.
Usually fucking tastes like syrup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very syrupy.
Really fucking thick.
Yes.
Really,
Very syrupy.
And I'm so. All right. What question?
My question then, give me a quick breakdown, quick history of mead.
Quick.
How far back does mead
Mead
go?
is the oldest alcohol in the world. They found remnants of it in clay pots in the Fertile Crescent, clay pots that were built, created by the Etruscans.
Wow. That goes back. I knew it was it was old.
What's the little like decrepit monkey halfling thing? Is it Emily? What's her name? The Neanderthal.
Oh, the one they found in Kenya?
Yeah, what's that one called?
Lucy.
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 Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm familiar with Lucy.
I was thinking decrepit because my ex-wife's name is Emily, so therefore I went with
I was like,
Emily.
where's he going with this? He's decrepit.
Is that funny how decrepit halfling? It was either
decrepit halfling, and then all of a sudden throws out this name that I'm like,
Yeah.
who's he calling that?
my first thing was like Hobbit, but
Halfling.
Lucy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like shortly thereafter, Lucy.
Okay.
Then people started depending on what timeline you really want to follow.
So Lucy was a partier.
She knew how to jump up and jump down.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, so it goes back that far. Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan, they drink it. Known throughout all of Africa, all the way through Europe, everything. It's mostly related to the Vikings. So the Danes, the Norwegians, right? The Swedes, all those folks. And so it's related to those guys. And the reason why it's related to those guys is because it's considered a pagan drink.
So it's ceremonial? Is that...
No. It's just how they made alcohol.
Okay.
They didn't have wine up
Probably
there.
because the Franks were pissed
Huh.
that all them people from the north were coming down and invading their land, and they're like, you know what? Our beer is better than your mead, and your mead is pagan.
Do you?
I don't know.
Well, the theory that's out there, the popular theory is why mead was forced out was actually because of Christianity. So it was
branded pagan, and they had to
After a while.
had to rebrand or get rid of the brand.
So this is what happened: is it was considered the king's drink. Medieval kings and queens would drink it after a victory because it was hard to come by for a lot of people, because you couldn't, there wasn't really beekeepers. Nobody kept bees. It's not a thing that they did because motherfuckers sting you. In case you've tried to do some shit with some bees. I have 9 beehives.
I worked at the apiary in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I got stung in the ear daily.
that sucks.
Yes.
What ended up happening is the Church of England and the Catholic Church, and so those are the two main factions that were pushing Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could tax and own vineyards, and they could tax and own fields of hops and barley. But they couldn't tax and own all the fucking beehives to get the honey that's used to ferment to make alcohol. So what did they do?
Make it illegal.
They sold it on faith, just like we're happening in the world today. The Democratic Party is a faith-based religion. The Republican Party is a faith-based religion. Same fucking story, just changed. So if you want something to be phased out and you're pushing a faith and you're demonizing something else, what do? If you want to be able to tax something, what do? You associate it with the demon faith.
Yeah.
Simplest trick humans do. So what they ended up doing is they said, this is a pagan drink, and we're Christians, and Christianity is flowing through. And then Christianity started sweeping through the pagan belief system, and it started wiping shit out across the board. And so that's why all of a sudden you have this space you have mead before the medieval times, and then you have mead years after medieval times. Because during the medieval times, she's a witch, burn her. So she weighs as much as a duck, she's a witch, drinks mead, burn her. Right? I hope to fucking God you guys got that reference.
I know, I got it.
I did not.
Monty Python, man.
Yeah,
the Holy
Monty
Grail.
Python and the
Come
Holy
on,
Grail?
you're older than us. How do you not know that?
I know. I haven't seen Monty Python.
What?
You put your hand out and slap it with your other one.
You and April have a project, and you need to watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I know.
real.
I know.
Knights of
I've
Mead.
seen.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen I've watched many clips, but I've never sat and watched the whole thing.
The world is in need of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
For real, dude.
For real.
For real.
Yeah.
So that's where it started. Now I have a theory. This is my own theory, developed off of years and years of idiots doing idiot things, as to how mead was discovered. 2 dudes are walking in the forest, and they're hunting. And they look over and they see a beehive that's been busted over and is full of rainwater. But the rainwater is fizzy rainwater. It's bubbling. One dude says to the other dude in whatever dialect of whatever fucking language that they were speaking, I fucking dare you to drink it.
He tells this story like he says this story every day. Like, this is just part of my routine. This is what I do.
I grew up in the Marine Corps and I've seen this shit happen in real life.
Okay.
So it's actually part of my soul.
Okay. That's why I'm recognizing.
and
That's
then-
why I'm saying that.
And then I thought maybe it was just in the Marine Corps, but then I joined the Army.
Here
And
we
it's
go.
the same fucking thing.
You're right.
They just they use different words like huh instead of hoorah.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
I physically couldn't get that out of my mouth back in the day.
I mean,
I was not that guy. I just struggled with it.
It's also fair. I said yacht instead.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
You guys had slogans? Air Force, we had air conditioning.
Yeah. This fucking guy gonna get cut later. So I'm 99% confident that when the other dude took the drink, he was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" I'm like 2 or 3 drinks in, he's feeling right as rain. Homeboy's like, "What's it taste like?" And he says, "Tastes like honey." And I'm fucking drunk, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Over time, village elders would take the ceremonial stick. And they would walk over and, run over, fucking whack a beehive, punch a hole in it right before the rainy season. Bees would fucking leave. It would fill with water, and they would go back and they'd fucking get mead. Because it would capture natural yeast from the air, and that's what they would get.
So my next question is, do you have one of these ceremonial sticks on the wall?
No.
You need one.
I don't want to fucking hit a beehive. This shit's not great.
You just need one on display with the little placard by it.
It says mead maker.
Maybe. I have fucking Viking axes. I feel like that's good enough.
No, that's excellent. I'm not saying taking anything away from that.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I like that part of the story is what I'm saying. And if I'm there and I'm having a few things, people are going to be like, hey, after a few, they're going to be like, can I get a picture with the ceremonial stick? I just think it's going to be a thing. Anyway, go ahead.
As long as the stick has dreadlocks, we can probably make that happen.
Just make up your own ceremonial stick.
Could be Sasquatch deadlocks.
Sasquatch deadlocks.
Because nobody's ever seen one. You get to make up your own.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. I like where you're coming with that.
Make up your own ceremonial stick.
When you start drinking,
part of the story.
When you start drinking again, I'll give you some mead for your ideas.
All right. A fair exchange.
Yeah. This is a barter economy,
yeah.
Which is what would happen if we burnt it down.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's like the origins of things and the theory that I have behind how it was founded and also or discovered, whatever.
So when did you or how did you come up or get to that point or say, hey, I'm gonna get into mead?
Oh, this is a great story.
Okay.
So I don't believe in fucking bullshit science. And I'm a project manager for a living in cybersecurity.
You don't believe in science, but you do believe in divine intervention.
I don't believe in bullshit science.
Oh, I see.
Bullshit.
Oh, okay.
Bullshit science.
I should have caught that.
Yeah, not science. I believe in science.
Yeah.
I don't believe in bullshit science.
Yeah.
And divine intervention just means some sort of divinity has intervened to bring you to where you're supposed to be. Anyway, does it have to be God? It could be Odin. It could be Freya. It could be anybody. So during the pandemic, I was working from home. I've been working remotely for 8 years. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I ran out of whiskey in order. Whiskey, beer, gin, vodka, Jaeger, Fireball, Porter's Fire, some sort of ice, fucking peppermint schnapps bullshit, wine, and something else that I don't even know what it was, but it was terrible and I drank it. And I still had to do my job because my job sucks. Herding cats is bullshit, and engineers are what they are. So, right. Anyway, so I went to the grocery store finally and was like week 6 into flattening the curve for 2 weeks. Maybe at 13. It could have been one of the two. I don't know. I drink a lot. Went to the grocery store. And I was just going to pick up some Coors Banquets. And if you know me, that's what I drink. I'm not, outside of mead and bourbon, I'm a very simple human. I drink Coors Banquets. That is my drink of choice. It's a great drink. I go to the grocery store, put my fucking diaper on my face, and I walk in this fucking store, and my mask creeps up over my eyes. Because if you guys can't see me, I have like a 8-inch beard probably. If you're measuring like a man, it's 14 to 17.
Solid.
Damn it, you beat me to it.
Around. Anyway, so I went to the grocery store. My mask crept up over my eyes. And so I moved it down with my hand just to see. And then I move it off my face. I just moved it down, moved it back in position. And this gal tore off across the grocery store.
Is this here?
No, it's in Utah.
Okay.
Tore off across the grocery store, pulled her mask down away from her face to yell at me for touching my mask. And I set the beer down politely, and I looked at her and I said, I can't fucking human anymore. And I walked out. I was like, no fucking way. I'm just going to go to the bar. Just going to go to the bar. I can deal with the bar. It's fine. Go to the bar. Put my fucking mask on. Walk past like 42 people sitting 6 feet apart with no masks on. Right?
Because it's science. I mean, that's what the science said.
Science.
Yeah.
And then sit down and they say, hey, it's last call. What the fuck are you talking about? Last call. It's like 9:30. COVID comes out after 10, they say. What the fuck words are you saying? Owner comes out, good friend of mine. Hey man, I'm just trying to stay open. I'm like, cool. Last call means I can order whatever the fuck I want, right? I'll take all of your beers in a pitcher. Well, we can't do... Can't is not an answer to the solution here, man. Like, the solution is I can't have fucking friends around me, so I have to order a pitcher of beer to pass around to those fucks 6 feet away who are my friends. I'm going to order the pitcher of beer, and you're going to pretend like I fucking pass it over to my friends. Because you close down in a half an hour. Today's been a shit bullshit day. He's like, okay, cool, whatever. No big deal. Anyway, go home the next day, super irritated. Or not next day, like go home, start work the next day, super irritated. Call my weed dealer. Hey man, I need some weed. Hey man, COVID's scary. Bitch, you're a fucking drug dealer. Drop it at the front door. Put it in the fucking, like, the milk box. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, they even had the drug dealers freaked out.
I'm like, bro, like, you're literally growing herb and stoned out of your fucking mind. You sound like fucking Shaggy. Like, fuck you, bro. Like, just give me my herb so I don't murder everybody. There's a solution here. You either do it or I'm gonna murder you too. Like, whatever. Like, I was so stressed, right?
And this is going on all over the place, though. People are feeling this, what you're feeling.
Oh,
all
yeah.
over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm in Utah, which is a conservative place, right? Pretty really conservative. Good moral values, all this shit. And I'm getting just, like, bombarded with asinine fucking bullshit. So I'm sitting there, get my coffee, because you've got to have order before chaos in life. So I start drinking my coffee, throw on the 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas. Have you seen that show?
I have not seen it.
What?
Fucking what?
You haven't seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Milo.
What movies do you watch? Should we start there?
Honey. It comes from honey.
Yeah.
It's a Michael Crichton book. Oh my god, dude, it's
It's
a
so
great
fun.
I've read a
good.
lot of Michael Crichton books.
Well,
a great
apparently you haven't read the best one.
I haven't read the best one, apparently.
Jurassic Park is pretty high up there.
I mean, I'm sorry. Vikings are cooler than dinosaurs. Vikings would ride dinosaurs.
True.
Yeah.
Vikings would ride dinosaurs.
Facts.
All right. I'll put that on my list.
So I'm sitting there and there's a part. So the movie's based off of a Muslim who gets banished. And in his banishment, he's supposed to go preach the word of God, of Allah, to everywhere. So he bounces, and on his path, he runs into a group of Viking warriors who are being called to go fight the Wen, or the Then, depends on what part of the world you're in. And they're like an old ancient enemy of the Norse. Super old, right? So they go on this journey. They go fight the Ven, and basically what happens is the Ven steal people's heads and they kill them in the dark, and it's a pretty brutal actually.
Yeah.
And during that time, there's fight after fight after fight. There's only 13 warriors. That's why they call it the 13th warrior. Spoiler alert for only one person in all of the United States.
And one of the 13 cannot be Norse.
Yeah, one can't be Norse. So that way,
but if I'd have said, yeah, I've seen it, you wouldn't have explained all of this. So, anyway, go ahead.
True.
So we're getting the meat of it.
I mean, yeah, definitely the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
So, at the very end, he literally looks like probably me during the pandemic and everybody else during the pandemic. He's just like, fuck my life, everything else. So I'm on a conference call, and I'm sitting here and I'm running the conference call, and there's a line at the very end, and they're about to, like, there's only 6 of them left, and they're fighting an entire army of bad dudes. Okay, so Antonio Banderas is like literally looking like he needs a drink, a blowjob, and a shot of fucking Coke or something. Like, he just needs anything to get through this next 20 minutes of whether he lives or dies.
Yeah.
And so one of the Viking warriors hands him a fucking horn of mead. And he's like, I cannot drink anything fermented off the fruit of the vine or hops and barley. And the Viking warrior goes, honey, it's made with honey. And I was like, hold up. Hey guys, I gotta let you go. I end my meeting that I'm running, cancel meetings for the rest of the day, rewind to make sure I understood what the fuck this dude just said. Because I had just barely harvested 100 pounds of honey from my 3 beehives.
Wow, that's a lot of honey.
Yeah.
That's a lot of honey.
And you know what people don't do? They don't eat a lot of honey.
Nope.
They don't. So, I was like, how the fuck do I turn, literally, Google search, how the fuck do I turn honey into alcohol? Sends me to YouTube. So I started my career as a mead master on YouTube University.
Wow. It's amazing what you can find on there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden your life just goes in a different direction.
First batch of mead I made was 21% ABV.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah, it tasted like Everclear that drove really fucking fast past a beehive.
What is the average of, would you say, of ABV? What is the average
of
out
mine?
there? Of just mead out there in general.
11%.
Okay. What's yours at, do you think?
15.4. So the basic recipe for any mead is 3 pounds of honey to 1 gallon of water.
Okay.
Mix some shake it up like it owes you money, and mix in some yeast. And
what type of what kind of a time frame does it take to ferment that out?
Average person?
Yeah.
6 months.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Me? Proprietary process that I invented? 5 weeks.
Wow.
Start to finish, including bottling and getting it clear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. How'd you figure that out? Well, we won't even get into it. Proprietary process. We don't want
to... So I'm a person that once I start learning something that I love and I want to do, I learn everything.
You research it. I can respect that. I do the same thing.
So I spent... So first batch fermented 21%. Second batch was a lot better. Set at like 19.5. 3 different types of mead that I made. Third batch didn't ferment. Fourth batch molded. Fifth batch sort of fermented. I was trying to experiment with some yeast nutrient, but I put a yeast neutralizer in, which is cool. Try to convince myself that honey water was alcohol while I powered through apple flavored honey water.
How large was your first batch? I know you said you had 100 pounds of honey, but when you were just playing with it in the beginning, you're like, how much of that did you sacrifice to the mead gods?
So everything got drank, no matter what it was.
Okay.
Unless it was molded.
Okay.
Everything got drank. Definitely nights when you could probably punch me in the face. I would never feel it. Probably for 2 days. Super rough. cut like Pop Off vodka and Mad Dog 2020. It was fucking.
And then you looked
brutal.
at your 3 hives, and you were like, "You need friends. I'm gonna bring you some friends."
No, then I said, "Hey, I fucking ran into an army chaplain in Montana. I'm fucking out. Fuck this place." And I moved up here, and then I got introduced to the winter is coming moment of super long fucking dark nights in Montana that start at 4:15 in the afternoon.
And it's wild.
Crazy. So what do you do at that time? Well, I'm not going outside. Like, the sun's down. Like, why the fuck would I go outside? It's cold. So then I started researching, and it was like everybody had very similar processes. They're very similar across the board. This person was missing one thing or compared to what this person was doing, and this person was missing something. I created this giant fucking spreadsheet, this giant mind map. And I was like, everybody's fucking missing 1 or 2 things as you go through. And then I was like, what if I add this thing into it that is my idea, and let's see what happens. Fucking cut down fermentation time, created a mead that is just full. She's a full flavored gal. And started inventing flavors. Every flavor that I have is just shit that I fucking thought up as I was making it. I've never had a flavor fail.
Wow. That's the fun part. That's the fun part, is dreaming up those flavors.
Yeah, so my ex was like, jalapenos and raspberry, what is this, a Buffalo Wild Wings flavor? And I was like, fuck yeah, it is. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And then I did a habanero pineapple one too, and they both fucking rock.
But on that same token, like, I've had like raspberry jalapeno jelly, I've had habanero peach jelly, and that shit is,
I know the first time you see it,
awesome.
You're like, but then when you go there, it's hard to go back. It's hard to be Mr. Welch's.
Your first batch of the raspberry jalapeno, dude.
I believe it.
Yeah. It was, so I've been introduced to mead in Europe. I had some mead when I was stationed in Germany, and then everywhere we traveled, I was like, I'm going to try mead, and I just wasn't a huge fan. It was syrupy. It was, dude, it was like drinking Goldschlager.
Yeah,
just that
fucking
texture, right? And so
brutal.
there's a meadery in Gillette, Wyoming that is pretty decent.
Lost Cause.
Yeah.
Or Big Lost.
Lost Cause, maybe.
I think it's Lost Cause.
So we went there on our way to Deadwood and like stayed there for like 4 hours, longer than we should have. And we're like, now we got to stay here and drink water till we can drive. Anyway, had mead there, but I ain't gonna lie. And I would say this if I wasn't friends with JT, and I would say this if I'd never met the guy, if I was just showing up at his meadery, it is the best mead that I have ever had, by far. And every flavor is good. There's not like, oh crap. If there's flavors that I prefer that weren't there, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna leave and go somewhere else. I'm still gonna drink what's there because, dude, they're so fucking good. They are good. So props to you for
thanks, man,
putting in the time, dude, because it's good stuff.
I didn't know you had those types of flavors. Like, what did you say, pineapple and habanero?
Habanero pineapple. So I was about to push that out, but like the next batch that I'm doing, so currently have 8.
Okay.
So I have the OG, child of the 80s. I'm a fucking original gangster. That's why it's an OG.
All right.
Right?
I'm
so
tracking.
Wildflower honey. I've got Tyr, which is named after the Norse god of justice and friendship. It's butterfly pea blossom tea, pear, cinnamon, and clove.
Oof.
And it dances across your tongue in that exact order. Like, so when I tell you it's pear on the front of your tongue, cinnamon in the middle, and clove on the back end as a burn, that is exactly what it does for every person. And I'm not a sommelier. Smullian, whatever. Definitely not one of those guys.
Definitely.
You're not a pirate.
No.
You're not the captain now.
No. Oh, man, I got to sneeze. Hold on.
Bless you.
Bless you, bless you.
Thanks.
I don't know. What do the pagans bless each other?
Dude, listen, if you guys are Christian and you want to send me blessings, I ain't going to bitch about it. I don't even know if I'm right. I don't even know if you're right. Send your prayers my way. I'll pray for you. You pray for me.
And
at the end of the day, everybody be happy.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that's and it's the cool thing about that exact drink is it is the brightest purple. It's a very, very purple drink. I like to mind fuck people. Pears should not be purple.
Yeah. When you said purple, I forgot we were dealing with pears. So I'm glad you brought that up again.
The jalapeno raspberry, when you open it, it smells like fresh cut jalapenos. So I like to mind fuck people. So it smells like it's going to be spicy as fuck.
Yeah.
But you drink it, it's the flavor of jalapeno across the front of your tongue, honey in the middle, and raspberry in the back end with zero spice.
Wow.
It's good.
That's interesting.
It's good.
It is the perfect alcohol, according to 30 master brewers. The cleanest front to back, most perfect alcohol they've ever tasted.
Wow. Man, I'm all kinds of intrigued.
The apple pie is fucking apple pie. I'm not explaining apple pie in America. If you fucking don't know what an apple pie is, you are in the wrong country.
Yeah, you need to turn in your card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to Great Britain.
Of course, we have a huckleberry.
Okay, awesome.
Huckleberry's pretty okay. It tastes like huckleberries. I'm not a huckleberry guy. Huckleberries are huckleberries. Like, they're not like, I don't know. It's just like small blueberries to me.
Yeah. I'm not a huge huckleberry guy, but if you're not from Montana and you're coming through, it's huckleberry everything.
It's super weird,
So,
man.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not from Montana. I came through and I was like, what the fuck's a huckleberry? Isn't that some shit Doc Holliday said?
Yeah, right?
He
That's
said
all I said.
hucklebearer.
No, in the
No.
script it says huckleberry.
It's supposed to be hucklebearer.
I don't know.
Really?
They said
Why-
he said
why'd he say-
huckleberry.
I'm
Why
pretty
do-
sure it's supposed to be because it was a vernacular back then for a pallbearer.
Yeah.
Hucklebearer. Not huckleberry.
Oh, now I've got to go. Now I got to pull that clip up.
You're gonna have to. I mean, that's what he was supposed to say, was hucklebearer, not huckleberry.
Interesting. Now I'm.
Yeah,
Well, he was the shittiest Batman anyways, but the best Doc Holliday.
best Doc Holliday.
So, huckleberry.
Who was your favorite Batman?
Dude, I'm sorry. Christian Bale, followed by Michael Keaton, then Adam West.
Christian Bale was my favorite Batman by far.
Most real. It was like in the era of movies where all of a sudden James Bond isn't fucking corny. He's just a badass.
James Bond was always awesome.
No.
No,
Pierce Brosnan was not fucking awesome.
no.
The
Character,
I agree
but
with you.
Pierce Brosnan was
No,
my
like,
least favorite.
No, I mean, but like none of them ever fought. Like they did like a fucking. There's a
There was
reason
Pierce
why.
Brosnan, but then there was another dude, I think, after Pierce Brosnan.
No.
He was kind of ugly.
Yeah, there was one more.
There was and he was kind of an ugly dude.
No,
No.
it went Pierce Brosnan to what's his name?
Okay, then it was right before Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, it was. So it was
He was the dude that played on Quantum Leap.
Roger.
There was Roger Moore.
Then there was Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
There was the dude in the middle. Then there was Pierce Brosnan.
I
and
think
then there
it's
was
dude in the middle is what I'm talking
It's the
about.
dude in the middle. He played. Oh no, it was. Shit. I'm losing. I can picture him, but I can't think of his name.
Black hair.
Yeah, he
Wait.
played.
They all had black hair.
Yeah, he played
Except for
on.
one.
Sean
was a-
Connery.
Had black hair.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't is the newest one.
yeah, I guess
he had
you're
like
right.
dirty blonde hair.
Daniel Craig did not have.
Daniel Craig.
Right.
didn't
Daniel
have-
did not.
Right.
but he did a good job too.
He-
What about
that-
Roger Moore?
Roger Moore had black hair.
Yeah, but
didn't
he's
have black
also
hair.
shitty. Yes, he
I
did.
think it was blondish.
Check tape. Check
have
tape.
to.
Throw the fucking red flag. Check
I'm
tape.
telling you, I think it was more of a sandy brown.
No,
No,
he had
man.
black hair,
Black
too.
hair, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Roger Moore. I
Tall,
think
dark,
there was-
tall, dark, and
Are you gonna
handsome,
look
man. Tall, dark, and handsome. That was what it was. So,
Yeah.
anyway, Huckleberry, the blueberry lemon, which is the one that we've been drinking tonight.
No, I drank it.
Well, you did. It's called the Valkyrie. It's blueberry, allspice, and lemon. So when you drink it, the reason why I put the allspice in is I want clear, distinct flavors across your palate. So you drink it, and it's blueberry across the front of your tongue, allspice in the middle to reset your palate, and a lemon zest on the back end.
Oof. Nice.
That's exactly how it tastes. 100% of the time, every time.
So would you consider yourself a gastrique?
I don't know what that
Then-
means.
So in cooking,
Huh?
there's these. What are they called, Milo? You would
It's
gastricologist? or
yeah, I can't.
something?
Now it's throwing me off even more. you know.
But
Yes,
they,
it's a like gastrologist or it's a something like that.
but they play with flavor profiles to do exactly what you're talking about. Hit
Yes.
different flavor profiles at different points in your tongue for food. And I'm
I
assuming you're doing it for drink as well.
I didn't even know that was a word, so I'm not really doing
Gastroenterologist. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
fucking black,
That's
dude.
black.
It's not black, but it's brown.
Bro, no, that's just because fucking Bob Ross ran out of paint.
No.
He was like, "This is a happy little toupee."
I'm gonna find another one that supports my cause better.
Nope.
I don't think so, bro.
Chat GPT. Show me Roger Moore.
Oh, let me get him bigger. I'll get bigger. Look at that.
That's not even James Bond. That's him on a different show.
Yeah, he's not. That's not him playing
James
Roger Moore.
Bond. That's Roger Moore being Roger Moore. Look up James Bond, Roger Moore, James Bond. If you're gonna do
Black hair.
black
I
hair,
don't think they dyed his hair black.
100%, dude.
They did.
It was like right when Technicolor started coming out. They wanted fucking base flavors.
Yes.
All right.
It wasn't. This was Technicolor. Wasn't Baskin Robbins. It wasn't 31 flavors of color.
No, it wasn't.
It was fucking A plus B equals black hair.
I do like the name of this one, Valkyrie.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a historian in me, it brings a whole lot of memory, though.
So I actually give the opportunity to name my meads to most of the people that work for me.
It's a good idea.
So Fjord was actually
That's a really good idea.
Fjord is actually Norse for father.
Yes.
And the gentleman who named it actually the guy who designed the logo and all the artwork and everything else. And he's a single dad. So being a father is the most important thing to him. The huckleberry is called Waltner, and that's actually Norse for healer. And the gentleman who named that is one of my best friends, and he was a corpsman in the Navy, and so he named it. And because huckleberries were used for healing by the Native Americans, I don't know what the fucking actual proper term is, but by the Native Americans for healing, they were used as they were medicinal. Healy, which is the jalapeno raspberry, was named by my friend he's a devout Christian. And Healy is Norse for grace.
Huh. That's a great name.
And so that drink is actually one of my favorites because of the fact that it's there. Like jalapenos and raspberries have no business hanging out together, just like pagans and Christians. But if you just have good intention and a good balance in life, everything's perfect. And that's exactly how mine and his friendship is.
I just need some cream cheese.
All it needs is a little bit of alcohol and cream cheese.
Yeah.
And maybe some crackers.
Because when you say raspberry and jalapenos, like that's what I think of is like those on some cream cheese and crackers, and it brings it all together.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
so the apple pie was named by my COO, who's we went to college together. His name's Alex. It's called Utogli, and it's a tribute to bootleggers and moonshiners across the world. It's called, and that's Utogli is Norse for outlaw. So I've only named like 3. Valkyrie was named by my friend Matt. He is a fucking wine connoisseur. And so I sent him a bottle of the first batch of it, and he's like, this is actually really good. And the color reminds me of a female warrior because it's like kind of like a pink kind of into a red color. I'm sure it's called salmon or something. I don't know. Fucking periwinkle? I don't know. Something.
Periwinkle just doesn't roll though.
Right. Anyway, so I'm not. I don't know what the fucking. It's pink. So if periwinkle's pink, then that's what. Sure. For all the ladies that listen.
I could see Cole going in there and be like, "Give me some of that periwinkle."
So
why would I have to yell periwinkle?
Because you're an imposing man.
Yeah, because you're
So
visually, it's the opposite. You know, it's that contrast there.
So then the wild berry and chili pepper, which is actually one of my favorite meads because of the way it is. So there's 4 berries in it. There's strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries in it. Whatever your favorite berry is what you taste across the front 3/4 of your palate. The back end, in the middle, you have honey, and then you have a congregation of the other berries, and then you swallow, and it's a chili pepper burn. It's got a nice burn to it, nice little spice to it. Nothing overpowering, just nice.
That's interesting, though, that whatever is your favorite kind of comes to the forefront.
Yeah. I've tested it on everybody who's drank it so far, which is about 100 people. Pardon me, 100 people. And everybody has a different flavor that they taste out of those 4 flavors.
So is that all 8 flavors? Have you listed all 8 flavors?
So that's 8 flavors that I have now. I have
Okay.
a total of 16 and 3 seasonal.
Ah.
So coming up, we have the Blood Eagle, which is a choke cherry vanilla. And I use vanilla beans, not vanilla fucking seasoning or spices
Extract.
or extract. Beaver butt. So I use that. We've got the pumpkin spice,
Can't believe you went pumpkin spice,
the
man.
chai tea.
He had to. He
Dude,
had
fucking
to.
basic bitches, man. I'm not doing this for me.
Brings out all
Oh,
the...
I know you're not.
I just want to see all the Ugg boots and Han Solo jackets.
Brings all the bitches
Oh,
to the
man.
floor.
It just, I saw a meme on that today. It was from Blazing Saddles.
It's fucking
and it-
perfect.
And it, I don't know. Have you guys seen it? I could probably pull it up. But it's just like,
Can you say Blazing
And
Saddles
it's like-
without getting canceled?
I don't know. Probably not. That's when they started canceling that stuff. I ordered that on like DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, I got it on both.
Yeah. So anyway, it just said one leaf falls, and then it shows Starbucks is Gene Wilder, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Fuck.
But the scene where he's pulling him out, and it's like one leaf falls. It's like, where are all the white women at? And he's pulling him out.
Oh,
there.
fuck. I need that meme now.
Yes. Yeah.
I
It's
fucking need that meme.
Gene. It shows him as Starbucks, and then and then
And the black dude is
as what is it? It just says pumpkin. Labels him as pumpkin spice.
oh, fucking perfect.
And he's wearing that outfit with the collar.
Yeah, he's wearing the
suede.
fucking yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Anyway, so
So
I'll find that meme. It's the best.
So we've got those. We've got the Viking's Blood, which is my version of Viking's Blood, because the Viking's Blood is typically a traditional Viking's Blood. It's just dark cherries or cherries and honey. But mine is dark cherries, orange, cinnamon, and hibiscus. Oof. Super delicious.
That
Warm.
does sound delicious. I just had this hibiscus tea over at Grey Cliff Mill that was super good.
We also have the vanilla bean coffee, which is known as the Berserker, which is where chaos and order meet, which makes sense because it sits at 15.9% ABV.
Wow.
That's gonna be awesome because
I got to watch him. He invited me over to have some drinks with some guys that he went fishing with or rafting with. I got to watch him make a whole deal on using local coffee and everything. I was like, yeah, you're supposed to be hanging out having a good time, and you're doing a whole business deal right now, dude. It was pretty cool just to sit back like a fly on the wall and watch. I ain't gonna lie, but
it was
cool.
It was interesting for sure.
Yeah.
It was just try to use local roasted coffee, local everything as much.
Yeah.
You use Sunshine Apiary money.
I
honey,
do.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have currently as of today, we've purchased 11,000 pounds of Sunshine Apiary honey since May 3rd.
Wow.
So today is August fucking 25th.
Hey, they got to be loving you.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I love
Yeah.
them. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But that's perfect for like that small town apiary to have a meadery.
well, the funny thing is,
like,
and-
that's
and
great.
The funny thing about
That's
the
why I
small
say that.
town thing is so I purchase as much as I can locally.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of shit that I can't purchase locally. Like, from our Mead Mosa, I can't purchase oranges here to fucking squeeze fresh oranges to make orange juice. Like, it's not a fucking thing that I can do.
Right.
But, I try to do as much as I can here locally.
Yeah.
There's not like a lot of glass companies fucking blowing glass in Montana. It's not a thing that they do. There's not a lot of cork trees fucking popping up like daisies around here. But
Yeah. Right.
I do as much as I can. It's funny to me because when I opened, there was 1,000 people at my grand opening. It was wild, like super wild. And I attribute the success of the grand opening to my entire team. All I did was make a good product, work really fucking hard. By the way, point. When life gets hard, work harder than life. Another mantra that I live by. It's part of my soul.
That's a good one.
And I failed enough in my life that I understand the only way to move forward, final point, is to fail forward. Those are the mantras that I live by in my life. So I failed enough along the way to find my process, and now when I make something, it's second nature to me. It's like Michael Jordan in the playoffs. It's clutch. It's Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, unless he's playing Eli Manning. or Eli Manning appears in a commercial. The only 3 Super Bowls Tom Brady was ever part of that he lost, there's Eli Manning appeared in all 3 Super Bowls, whether it was a commercial or it was on the field. Anyway, so just as an FYI.
Tom Brady must just sit at home with a little doll and needles.
Dude, just letting you know. So for me, with the meads, the different flavors, the profiles, everything that's going on, people ask me, like, why did I do it? Like, I didn't have to open up a meadery. I'm actually very comfortable being a project manager. This organization, the Bearded Viking, is actually a legacy organization. I put in the ownership meeting minutes that it can never be sold. So that means it can never be sold. The ownership of the company transfers to our children.
It changes the motivations.
Yeah, I'm not in this for money. People think that I am. It's weird because, like, but I'm like, no, I'm totally cool just living on top of my mountain, at my house, and not ever coming down unless I got to go to Costco.
Yeah,
on a Thursday.
I would have to disagree with you. I don't think everybody thinks you're in it for money.
I hope so.
Because yes, you and I are friends now, and I consider you. I mean, I don't have like a.
We have a bromance.
We do have a bromance.
30 days.
30 Snapchat. But I mean, there's like 6 or 7 people in this community that I reach out to. 2 of them are in this room.
I'm proud to be on that list.
Me too.
Which, yeah. And one day we're gonna have to talk about you leaving. But when that bridge comes up,
right?
But I even if I didn't know you, I wouldn't think you're in this for money. And I don't know if it's because there's that veteran bond that we might have or whatever, but it is so much more just being out there when you're working, okay? Not when we're out there drinking and then you and I and whoever else is like, holy crap, 3 days later we're still slurring our words. But the not aura, I mean, that's such a shitty word, but the experience, and we talk about this a lot. We want people to have an experience, whether it's with my photography, whether it's with your food and April's food, or whether it's with the meadery. The experience that you get when you go out there, the farthest thing from it is like, JT's here to make money. Farthest thing from it. And so no, I would disagree with you. I don't think very many people, period, would say that you open that meadery for money.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, so I had a meme earlier today that I read. I've been on like this really crazy path in the past few weeks. Really awesome path. But it was like when you work to earn something and not to learn something, you don't earn anything. But if you take away the L, or if you add the L and then take away the L, it's like the reverse. So when you work to learn something, then you start to earn something. And that was really kind of powerful. It was a fucking moment of like, fuck you, man. That's fair. I'm like, fuck you. You put it on a meme. Real talk. For me, this is about my kids. I'm a single dad. I have 3 daughters. My 23-year-old hasn't talked to me in 7 years. My 16-year-old, my 21-year-old, works here in town. As she moved up here to be with me. My 16-year-old is trapped in this phase of her life where she's a people pleaser. So she tries to please her mom, and then when she's here, she tries to please me. And I'm like, just fucking be yourself. I don't really care. And then, her stepdad he's a medical technologist. He plays with shit for a living, and a douchebag. But beside the point, so now she thinks she wants to be a medical technologist. And I'm like, you want to make $25 an hour for the rest of your life? Like, that's to play with shit? Like, I gotta make way more to play with shit. Like, way more. Like,
at that age, though, they have no clue.
Yeah, they're just
so influenced by anything, and
and it's just constantly beat down. So I realized a long time ago that, going back to my first thing, the only way to affect change is by being the change you want to see. So I need to create an organization that is not just about alcohol creation. We have been open for 109 days, 110 days, something like that, 115 days. I don't know. Whatever May 3rd is till to now. Till to now? That's a word. 115 days. So just shy of 4 months. And we have sold through 97% of our first stock of 5,200 bottles. We have shipped to 40 states as of today. We have commercial clients in Alaska, Arizona, Nevada, and Vegas, actually, as well as a retail client in Tennessee that's pending. And I got to tell Garth Brooks' agent to fuck off.
Bonus.
Yep. If you, for the guys that work for me, they're my family, in essence. They're the Bearded Viking family. For the Bearded Viking family, the children that work for us that are there, they are going to have the opportunity to do art direction. My art director's daughter, I told him that I need stick figures that are modeled after a Viking to teach people how to drink this. So the preface is she's just designing the stick figure, and then me and her dad are going to put together the storyboard. So there's a Viking driving with a bottle of mead, and there's an X and a circle around it.
Perfect.
Not here.
Yeah.
There's a Viking sitting around a fire pit with a dude with a sombrero and another dude just holding another bottle of mead with dreadlocks. And they're drinking mead with a green circle around it. There's a Viking. So he's got a Viking helmet and a beard. And he's got his wife bent over the bed in a stick figure form. Don't worry, his daughter's not drawing that part. This is us.
Okay.
Okay. And he's just going
from that part of the project.
Just drinking a bottle of mead while fucking bending her over the fucking bed. Right? The idea behind this is that she's designing the character. Now, the character's actions her dad is going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But she's 12. My daughter, my 16-year-old, helped me make Healy. She cut up 75 pounds of jalapenos by hand with me and with my friend Charlie. She helped boil and do the process to pull flavor and mix all the honey. She has a bottle. Her birthday's 1/23. She has bottle number 1, or batch number 1, bottle number 23 of that, because she made it. This is a legacy that I'm building. Everybody looks and they ask me, like, what do you want in life? And this is going to sound kind of pious, maybe. Maybe it's going to sound kind of very self-centered. But I'm going to be the Alexander the Great of mead and kindness. I'm going to leave a legacy that changes the world. And I will not allow anything to interrupt that legacy. I live it and I breathe it and I follow that path every single fucking day. I wake up and I fail, and then I get up and I move forward and I learn from my failure. I wake up, life's shitting on me. I don't fucking care. When life gets hard, work harder than life. That's how I am. That's who I am. That's what I do. I love fiercely. I focus on the path forward, and that's what we do. There is no luck in this world. You make your own fucking luck. You make it happen. You grit, you fucking battle, you deal with life, you dance with your demons, and you fucking move on. And when your demons get really tough, you reach out to your friends. I coined the term, it's time for a meetup. M-E-A-D, a meetup. And what that is whenever you're struggling, you reach out to your friends, and then you grab a bottle of mead, or you grab a bottle of beer, or if you don't drink, you grab some fucking root beer, and you go sit your ass down by a campfire, and you talk about shit that doesn't matter. That is the start of how you get there. Questions I ask whenever anybody says, hey man, I need to talk. I immediately break it open with, all right, before we start, Does Bigfoot have a man dick, a dog dick, or a bear dick? Because you're open.
Everybody wants to know.
Right. That's the only reason why we're looking for him. But like the reality,
that's obvious.
Yeah. So
right.
the reality is that once you do that, then you have the opportunity to move forward. You can break the ice, and people forget about that. So my kids are going to go to school, and they're going to get some fucking useless political science degree, or some sort of art degree, or some sort of fucking dumb shit. My buddy Rudy's kids is going to go to school, and they're going to fucking do whatever they're going to do. They're going to get some sort of fucking bullshit degree, communications degree, for Christ's sake, right? And they're going to go out in the world. They're going to realize the world doesn't fucking care.
Very true.
But you know who does? We do. The Bearded Viking does. You're not going to start off like making good money, because I sure as fuck didn't. And I have nothing but respect for working my way out, my ass off from the ground up. I still, to this day, even though I have an apprentice and I have employees, go inside and I mop the floors like I'm a fucking E3 in the military. I clean the shitter. I do those things. I wash bottles. I cork. I work with my team. Sometimes I don't, but like I don't got to do it all the time because I'm the leader, right? But that's the whole purpose of this. This is a fucking legacy.
Well, leading from the front. I mean, that's going to stick more with the example that you're setting and the satisfaction you're going to get when you in going down this path by being that guy who does all of that stuff from the beginning, all the paying your dues. That's where the real satisfaction comes off of. It's not about the money in the bank or the this or the that, but having that satisfaction of like, I accomplished this and I brought these people with me and I put something positive into the world. That's where all the reward is going to be. And then just when you were making that statement about like, this is what my drive is, this is what I'm doing here, whatever, with that focus, this is going to be interesting to watch, because I believe you and that you'll change the world, because with that focus, that drive, that mile marker out there, that's what it takes to affect change. And so it's going to be interesting. I'm glad to meet you at this point in the process. I wish I'd have met you sooner, but it's going to be exciting to watch this. And because with that type of mind frame, and I agree with you on the thing where you're saying, hey, when your focus is, or however you ordered it there, about when your intention is to learn, then the earn will come. I agree with that 100%. And that I think I was watching Dave Chappelle talk about this, and he was talking about his contract thing, but he said people don't get this. When you are chasing the dollar, you may get the dollar, but you lose everything else. There's so much happiness you forfeit when you chase that dollar. But if you chase what you love, the dollar will follow.
Always. I actually just listened to Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey about that. The whole book's pretty fucking awesome, except for the last 4 minutes. Just shut it off because he talks about George Floyd. And,
I read that book.
Yeah, whatever. Super awesome book.
Yeah.
Hearing him say it is fucking great.
Yeah.
Super great.
I did the audiobook. I think I was early mornings at the BFL. I'd listen to that.
I loved it. Green Light. Note to self.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't listened to it. I think Shasta's listened to it. I have not.
So I think it's interesting because a lot of people, when I say that I will be the next Alexander the Great for things, they look at me like I'm cocky and arrogant, but I'm not. I spent 2.5 years building a building that I don't know how to build. I had contractors shit on me and ruin things and spend money and fuck me over left and right. And, I could talk about that for days and days and days. But you know what it did? It prepared me for failure. I failed a lot in my life. I have 2 divorces, 1 for each branch. I have a 23-year-old who's married, who is pregnant, is possibly going to make me a grandfather that I'll never see my grandkid. I'll never see her again. I'll never talk to her. But you know what I did do? Is I learned that I am not a failure overall because I never quit. I can fail all day long, and that's okay. I fail forward. Do I miss and relish the day that maybe one day she talks to me? Absolutely. But I can't choose those or force people to love me.
And because you don't force it, it's more likely to happen.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. Like you can choose to be in my life because I will choose to be in yours until you make choices that I don't want to be around. And that's okay all the way across the board. I tell my team all the time, I am not a great leader yet. When I die, maybe somebody whispers things about me being a great leader. Maybe when I die, people whisper things about me being, Alexander the Great of Mead or of kindness. But I teach kindness all the time. And I talk about this to everybody. I teach it. It's a part of our ethos of the company. The thing about being kind is kindness saves lives. A smile, how's your day going to a cashier, a veteran that says, hey man, I need some help, and you help them across the street. Don't give them money. The veterans are terrible with money.
That's true.
Fucking
Speaking
facts.
from experience.
Facts.
They need mead. Give them mead.
Be kind. But the thing about kindness is also kindness is putting a horse down when it breaks its leg.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to put somebody down in your life in the aspect of cut them out if they're not there at the time that they should be.
They should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of that. People's opinions don't matter. The only thing that matters is what you have in your heart and what you're driving for. And you're going to fail and you're going to fuck it up. Don't worry. You will. All of us do. All the time. You could be given the keys to the greatest thing in the entire world, and you fucking figure out you'll fumble them as you try to put them in the door to open it up. It's okay. Life is life. And so I teach that as an ethos, a core basic belief system inside of our organization. 18-year-old girl who works for me, who's a mead maker, she's an apprentice, has the hardest fucking work ethic I've ever met of an 18-year-old girl in my entire life. Never bitches. She does quit every time she sees a spider, but then she comes back after she kills it. Which is fine. Respectable for them, whatever. But I don't teach that. I teach that it's okay to fail. She knocked over 7 bottles of alcohol. Many people would get mad about that. No, man. Just slow down. Quit moving so fast. You're a terrorist. Quit it. Like, totally okay. And teach love and respect before anything else. Open doors for ladies. And, if you don't know what they are, just open the door for them. If they
err on the side of opening the door.
Yeah, just be kind.
Right.
The only time that I am not kind, just so you're all aware, on that same note, which you can edit this out, which is fine, totally cool. If somebody identifies as a they, them, their, I will add an S to the end of their name, because fucking grammar, when you lose grammar, you break down society, and I'm not fucking here for that.
I agree.
So if your name is Cole and you identify as they, them, their, you are Coles. So you're aware. But I teach, my thing is all of those things outside of the last thing. I'll fucking run aside. All of those ethos that I said along the way, those 5 core beliefs, those things lead into building you. They could be you, Cole. They could be you, Milo. They could be anybody on the street. If they adhered to those 5 things, and they loved fiercely and focused on communication in a positive way, just listening to understand instead of listening to respond, this world would be better. There would be compromise. There would be understanding. You could be an LGBTQ LMNOP and nobody would care. We would support you. You could be a white dude and people would support you. You could be a black dude and people would support you. But we don't do that anymore. People fucking lost their belief system along the way because they're so involved in the clicks, the likes, and the follows, and whatever their fucking political faith is, or whatever their religious faith is. They forgot that the core belief system of humanity is to find community and compromise, which is what we talked about earlier, working to be good.
Working to be good.
It is work.
it's 100% work.
Well, you would get nowhere close to being the Alexander the Great of mead if you didn't set big, audacious goals out there. You would get nowhere close to that. I am a fan of big, audacious goals, and you got to have those, or you're not going to get anywhere close to that. And so I love all that stuff. I do. I wouldn't. I'm with you. I wouldn't care what other people think about those goals. I would state them. I would go for them, and not look back. And whatever, I agree. Whatever failures that you feel that you've had along the way, they really aren't failures if you have kept going.
Green light.
Yep.
So here's my goals, my current goals, my audacious goals, which I don't think they're that really audacious. I'm not full of myself. I just know that when I go to Brewfests, rich white ranchers who only drink Busch Light, don't leave my booth. Facts. I will be entering our mead, 3 of our meads, into the national championship for mead in Missouri this year in October. And then next year, I will win the national championship for mead after I figure out what the fuck they're looking for.
Yeah.
The year after that, I will be in Norway or Iceland, depending on where it's at, or even Denmark, for the world championship for mead. And I will win that.
That's awesome. I want to put this on the calendar. I want to watch it all happen.
It will happen.
It will happen.
I'm not afraid to challenge myself to that. As a matter of fact, I've tasted most of the meads that are out there on those, and I honestly will say to you that they don't have the messaging behind it. They don't have the belief behind it. They don't have the passion behind it. They're doing it for money, and I'm not doing it for money. I don't give a fuck about the money.
They don't have a ceremonial stick on the wall.
They totally have a ceremonial stick. They're all at the Renaissance fairs, bro. They all play D&D, bro. I can't I'm not a D&D guy. Like, come on. Closest to D&D I got is Risk.
I was trying to give you an edgy one-up on them, but
no, they all probably have war axes, but most of them don't have ARs.
There you go.
You need a ceremonial AR.
Fine. Can we call it a 308 and call that an AR?
Yeah.
It identifies.
AR-10.
It's
fine.
Yeah.
It identifies it as an AR.
Yeah.
It's a bold action, but it's fine.
Right.
Oh, a bolt action.
Yeah.
It can identify as whatever it wants, and you can't say otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I'm stoked to have you in the community. I
am too.
You're a huge asset.
I think it's a great story.
Yeah, I do too.
Thanks, guys.
I'm glad that the fates
Absolutely
brought you here. See what I did there?
I did, dude. We full circled that shit.
I know, right?
Like a spider web, if you will.
If you will. And
This is a no doubt sign.
we need to do this again. We have a lot more to talk about, for sure.
I hope that I don't cause too much editing because I'm very, very me.
No, we like people being themselves. So
Yeah.
But so if you're in Stillwater County and you're in Columbus, make sure and stop by the Bearded Viking Mead Company.
Yes.
Yeah.
And get some top tier.
Tell JT you heard him on the Big Fat Podcast.
For sure. If you, I'll do something for you guys. I'll match, except for you two. I will do a discount code, Big Fat Podcast. I'll give 10% off for them, and for every bottle purchased there, I will donate 10% to the show, additional, as a sponsor.
Wow. All right, let's do it.
So spread the word.
Spreading the word.
Yeah.
That's a clip. We're cutting that clip right there.
Bird's the word.
Yeah.
Bird's the weird.
Bird's word.
Dude, birds aren't weird.
No, I've got 2 falcons. No.
Yes, you do. And I take pictures
You
of
have
birds.
2 falcons?
Yeah.
Dude, he's a falconer.
Yeah.
I told you we got so much more shit to talk about.
Why didn't that even come up yet?
We have a podcast that he's part of to talk about. We have falconing to talk about.
My goodness.
We haven't even talked about bow hunting or any of that other stuff yet. So, I mean, we got another one of these coming up.
Can we bring falcons to the next podcast?
If you don't mind them shitting on your floor.
Hey, man, I'll put down some cardboard or something.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. I'll bring Tyr and Valkyrie.
Guess who got to hang out with them, and I haven't even got to hang out with them?
Who?
Kimber.
Oh.
She's afraid of birds.
And she's afraid of birds.
She held one.
Yeah.
Really?
And touched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tyr.
Yeah.
She held Tyr. He's
Yeah.
he's not a dickhead.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Valkyrie.
Kimber's got to eat his famous brisket
And ribs.
and ribs. This guy
Wow.
has it.
Man,
I
I know. I got to get over there. There's a lot going on over there. I've been caught up in my own stupid stuff.
Oh, I don't do any of that shit over the meadery. No, man. I just fucking hang out by a fire and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the outdoor part of the meadery is a super draw. And it's even more so now that I spent those 2 weeks in Africa and everything's outside.
Yeah.
Everything we did was outside, and I loved it.
I wish we had lagers here too.
Yeah.
I fucking love Africa, dude. It's one like, if America continues to go to shit, I might have to retire to South Africa because that shit is fucking amazing down there. It's the perfect place.
It's a good combination.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not so clear on their political climate. I don't know what it was like, but
Probably terrible. It's
it
the
probably
same.
is. It is.
It fucking translates across.
But that's
the
for
board.
another day.
There's
Yeah.
humans involved.
That is totally
Probably.
for another day.
Yeah.
JT,
JT.
thank you for coming, man.
I can I do my sign off?
Actually,
Do you have a
Go
sign off?
No.
no, we usually just fade out what we're talking about and go into
Oh.
music. So you do your sign off, and then we'll fade.
Oh, okay. Well, as always, I'm Vico. Cheers, motherfuckers.
Cheers.
Cheers.